and good. TikTok, yeah. The only talk about tech on the internet this day and age. Woohoo! Guaranteed your money not back.
Right.
Hey, what's up, Pele? How's it going, Blue Varo? Lost in Space Things, Anthony. We got everybody in the house. Everybody. Oh wow, it held Daddy for review. Wow, we got to really chill that bot out. That bot's getting a little too uptight, if you ask me.
Yeah, that's a little weird.
Yeah, I know, right? Like Daddy, just one word, Daddy. That's somehow I don't know, man. They're getting lost.
Whatever.
This is what happens when you let AI do moderation.
Some
man.
people.
Let's see here. Ooh. Hey, have you I was gonna ask you, have you played Joel's new game, 3D Printing Nerd's new game that he put? Actually, he's got 2 games now on iOS Marketplace.
No, I don't have Apple device.
Oh, that's right. You don't.
I mean, I have an iPad, but I haven't charged it in a while.
I'm actually surprised in this day and age that everybody isn't just releasing simultaneously for iOS and Android, because the only thing you have to do is drag your project into AI and say, just make this work on this, and it just does it.
Dude, a lot of the engines will do both anyway. They just put a little wrapper around it and.
Oh, that's right. Because if you encapsulate it in like some third party thing, like I know they're not using Java anymore, but just an example like Java, right? Yeah. Then it just runs on everything. It's multi-platform.
Yeah, I mean, I know Unreal can do. You build your whole thing inside Unreal, and it'll export wherever you want, basically.
Yeah, here, let me open. I'm gonna see if I can find it here really quick.
I think Godot does the same.
What's Godot? What's
Godot?
Godot. Oh yeah, Godot. I've never programmed
I just figure
Godot.
It's French. I just figure it's French, so I said Godot.
A lot of people like to rail on that one. Let's see,
I don't understand. It's great.
Okay, so this game, you guys got to try it. It's actually a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. It's called Solved, SOLVD. And no, this isn't sponsored. Joel's just my really good friend, and I've been helping. He's been developing this. He gave me early access. I've been playing. It's a lot of fun. It's free. Doesn't cost a penny. I don't even think there is a way to pay anything. I don't even see ads or anything. I don't know if he's eventually going to monetize it, but right now it looks like it's just a freebie, which is hard to do on iOS because you have to pay a yearly licensing fee.
It's only $100.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. But yeah, it's called Solved, SOLVD, and it's a math game. And it's basically every day there's a new math puzzle for easy, medium, and hard, depending on what you're comfortable. You play one of them or all of them, and it tracks your progress. You can link in your friends, you can compare scores, and it measures like how long it takes you to solve, your accuracy. It's kind of, think of it like a typing test, but for math. And the way it's put together is super intuitive. Like the first time I opened it up, it was immediately obvious how to play. Like I didn't have to look at any instructions to play it. It was like absolutely obvious. But yeah, it's super duper cool. Give it a try. Even my wife loved it. Like I sent it to her. She put it on. She's like, wow, this is actually really clever. So nice. Joel, good job. Solved, fantastic game. The more people to play it, hopefully the more he'll continue deving on it and keep evolving it. So yeah. I hope everybody's having a wonderful, fantabulous time. I'm sorry I've been absent again this last week. I decided to finally leave my house after 3.5 years and go to the Great North Canada before my passport expired, which actually my passport expired a month after I left. So when we went through the border gates, they immediately noticed that, oh, you know, why are you leaving the country when you only got a month left on your passport? That's a little weird. Dude, we got grilled.
It's because y'all haven't fucking sent it to me yet.
Man, I feel bad for Hobbs, dude. He has that what's it called where you can just drive through, you scan your card and you just drive through. It's like Nexus or something.
Oh yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so he has this Nexus pass. Well, he can't use it when other people are in the car, obviously. So he can still scan it for him. So he doesn't have to answer any questions, but his passengers still have to go through the regular rigmarole. So we pull up to the gate. He's used to just buzzing right through and it's like no big deal. I swear we get the one lady who is just out for blood. She thinks she's going to save Canada from that big scary terrorist or whatever that's coming for him. By the way, if any terrorists coming for anybody, it's going south, not north. So we're going into Canada and the lady is like grilling me. She's like, okay, where are you coming from? She asked me that like 3 times. What do you do? What is that? Oh, what is an influencer? What does an influencer do? Oh, like, you live stream? What's a live streamer? We're like, where are you headed? We're going to land. We even gave her the name. What's a land? Oh, it's like where people get together and play with their computers. Oh, why do you have all that stuff in your car? That's the computers. Like that's where we're taking the land. Why do you have so much stuff in your car if you're only going to be there for 2 days? Like, oh, this is all the equipment we take to play the game. Oh, so you guys, okay, so where are you going again? Oh, where are you coming from again? Oh yeah, so when you plan on going back? She kept asking the same questions on loop over and over again. It probably took 8 minutes, 5 or 8 minutes of us sitting there just looping through questions before she finally like looked at us, looked at the passport, looked at us, and finally let us through. But I was sure we were getting scanned, man. That was the longest I'd ever been held up at the border by far. And then, of course, coming back, it's a completely different story. Coming back, you're like, yeah, you just show me your documents. They look at you like, oh, do you have anything to declare? Yeah, we bought some candy with sugar in it at the stores. Okay, cool. Come on through. And they just hand you your shit back and you're good. So yeah, Canada is definitely on high alert right now. Unless we just got like the crazy one weird individual that didn't want to let us into Canada. Watch, she's probably this kid. She's like, I don't want you Americans up here no more.
Rude.
Y'all coming up here, ruining all of our stuff, all of our good stuff. But I have to say, I do like Canada. It was cool to head up there. Huge shout out to my boy Hobbs, as you guys know him.
Yeah.
He was the one that drugged me out of my house and took me to Canada as his hostage. And he hooked me up with a seat at Whale Land and hooked me up in a nice seat too. He got the fancy seat, so I got to sit in a fancy seat. And it was funny. I'm sitting at like these fancy seats where everybody gets like an extra foot of width or whatever. And I've got my little 14-inch framework laptop or 16-inch framework laptop. So everybody's got these huge screens and big builds with like everybody's got a 4090 or a 5090. And I'm sitting here with my little AMD Radeon powered, framework laptop. And at least I brought a mechanical keyboard and a mouse, so I wasn't like total pleb mode. And so we get up there and we get set up. I brought I didn't like the chairs that they had there. They did have like these like metal padded chairs, like nice ones you'd see for like a, wedding hall or something like that. Yeah. But they weren't comfortable for me. So I'm glad I brought a chair. I brought a folding camping chair that just folds out. And it's this one you get from Costco. It's like $30 or whatever. It's the most comfortable chair ever. I used it for my racing simulator for a while too, just because you fit so carefully in it. Or so comfortably in it. It's amazing. Gaming Matty Rock said, don't be sorry, Barnacules. It's okay. You got out of the house. I know that was great to get out of the house, but man, I knew I was going to pay for it ahead of time. You spend 3.5 years cooped up in your house and you don't go anywhere. And now you're going to go be around a bunch of nerds yelling and screaming and running around. There's no way you're getting out of that unharmed. Mm-hmm. So, I made it through. We only played, games. The one day we were there for, I think 17 hours on the first day. We got there right when they opened in the beginning of the morning, and then we went back to the hotel room, I think, at like 3 or 4 a.m. And so we did this massive 17-hour stint, went back and slept for 4 hours, then came back and played for another 4 hours, and then we left. Wow. So we weren't there for the full 2 days. We were there for the full first day, but then the second day we bailed early because Hobbs had to get back for a concert he was going to. And after that, on the way back, I was already exhausted. Just one 17-hour day, another 4-hour stint, and I was already like, wow, what did I just do? So it felt good, but also at the same time, I was like, oh man, I feel drained. And then we got back to the house. I felt okay other than just being super tired. I came in and crashed. As soon as I woke up, I had the sniffles and the sore throat. I was like, God damn it. And then the next day, my wife has the sniffles and the sore throat. And then my son, he's complaining a little bit of the sniffles, but for him, it was no big deal. It ran its course really, really quickly for them. They were sick for maybe like a day or two, super mild symptoms. Me, I was laid up in bed, aches and pains, nauseous, didn't want to eat. But again, it ran its course in me pretty good too. Plus I got that steroid injection right before I left. I was supposed to get one on both sides. The insurance was like, they told my doctor they approved both injections for both sides, but then we called the double check because sometimes they do the bait and switch. And sure enough, they did the bait and switch. They're like, oh no, we're only covering one and we're not covering the whole thing. We're only covering it up to your out of pocket is 150. So at least it's not the 350. Okay. So I paid the 150, but I could only get one shot. For the second shot, I would have had to pay the full 500 out of pocket. So I ended up getting the one shot on the side that hurt the worst, which was my left side. And it definitely worked. Like on the trip, it was definitely hurting more than it wasn't. So it didn't work for the trip, but steroids kick in kind of slowly. And so by like day 3 or day 4, the pain started really subsiding on the left side. And it got to the point where I was just really focused on the right side pain. That's how much the left side pain had numbed away. So had I gotten the shot on both sides, oh my gosh, I would have been in so much better shape, but couldn't afford it. So that's life. Still haven't gotten the bill from insurance yet. So I'm sure insurance is still going to like tell me, oh, you got to pay $500 for the shot we said we were going to cover because there was like a milligram dosage error, or the wrong person administered it, or they'll do some bullshit and I'll have to go back and forth and like fist fight them to, get my $350 back or whatever. But yeah, anyways, that was my week. But I was just feeling like shit this whole week. I was exhausted. I didn't get any sleep on the trip. So when I came back, I was already super haggard. My immune system was weak. My voice was weak. Haven't blown out my vocal cords in a long time though. So like having a raspy voice for 2 or 3 days, that was interesting. But I'd say like today, I'm still not 100%, but I'm never really 100% if I'm honest, but like I still haven't like fully 100% recovered, from my day and a half adventure to Canada. I mean, I guess if you think about it, it's 3 days and 2 nights, because we went up there the first day on Friday. We went and had dinner with Timmy Tech TV and some other friends. Then we just went back to the hotel, and we set up and had a mini LAN party in the hotel. So Hobbs hooked up his computer to the TV in the hotel, and I had my laptop, and I was sitting on my bed, and we were playing Forza Horizon all night. So we were like pre-gaming, getting to the point where we were ready to go to the LAN. Then we go to the LAN and we play the shit out of Forza, and I don't think I won a single race against Hobbs. He completely just wiped the effing floor with me, dude. I thought I was better at that than at racing games, but nope. Every single person there was just smashing me, dude. Like, I don't think I've ever felt that obliterated in a game, and I usually get obliterated in every game. So, but I'm curious, how was your week, Mr. Ox? I haven't seen you for what, 2 weeks now?
It was all right. Just normal stuff. Kind of just getting ready to move. Got approved for a new apartment and stuff. Actually just signed a lease last night, so I'm going to go collect the keys on Monday.
Bro, that's big news.
Yeah.
That's big news. You're already moving. God, it feels to me like you just moved in that place, but you've actually been there a minute, haven't you?
The year now, yeah.
Wow, dude.
Yeah.
So you move into a completely different apartment complex or just a bigger unit? Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a new place, like better, pros, cons? Like
bigger, a little cheaper. Areas, I mean, maybe a little sketchier, but it's not like, I mean, it's not any worse than anywhere else I've lived.
You can handle the rough areas. You have that look that I don't think people are going to mess with you if you're outside walking around. You look like a drunken Irishman that's just looking for a fight.
Hey, thanks, Bipolar Bear. $20 bucks.
Thank you, bro. Woo! Wrong button.
Hey, and the bot,
there we go.
Bot even got it. Well, the bar didn't update, but the pop-up. Oh, there it is.
Oh,
Bing,
hell yeah. Look at that. It's actually working. Oh, my
nice.
God. The bot worked for once. I am so seriously shocked. Networking guy said I won a single race against him, but I actually cheated. So that's why I won the race against him, is I cheated. And he didn't tell you that the previous 3 or 4 races we had, I also cheated. I cut through the woods and I still lost. So like, even though he was like following the road, although to be fair, he cheated on a couple in the beginning too, until I told him to knock it off and stick to the road. But even sticking to the road, he still wiped my ass. So I don't think that's the proper terminology. He wiped my ass. Kicked my ass. There we go. He's like, no, I didn't wipe your ass, Barnacules. No, I didn't wipe your ass. I knew Jay Robertson or somebody else was going to say it. Was he drunk yet? Because whenever you say Hobbs, are you drunk yet? Is he drunk yet? No, Hobbs don't drink no more. Nice. Can you believe it? Like the Hobbs, the legendary Hobbs that is known for doing such things as snow angels on PDX land floor deep into the night. No, he doesn't drink anymore. He's and I'm super proud of him for it too, dude. That's that's not an easy change. It really isn't. Right. But he told me he didn't see it having any value in his life anymore, and there was more other things that were more important. And
nice.
But he's doing great, by the way. The funniest thing, so Hobbs, I haven't seen Hobbs in forever. We stay in touch all the time. We talk all the time, right. But I haven't seen him physically. Like, I haven't seen him in a long time. So he pulls up to my house, and I'm expecting a Subaru, because he didn't tell me he was renting a car. So I'm expecting his blue Subaru, and this Toyota like RAV4 pulls up in front of my house. So I'm like, okay, wait, is that him? So I go and I peek in the window, and I see this person with a beard and dark sunglasses. And I'm like, nope, that's not him. So I walk back on my porch, and I got the message in my pocket. I'm here. I'm like, wait a second. So I go look again, and he looks at me, and I'm like, what's going on here? Like, that's not Hobbs. And he gets out of the car and takes off the glasses. And I was like, holy shit, dude, he looks completely different with a beard. Like Hobbs with a full beard looks completely different. Like, and he said that it's not just me. He said all of his other friends, like he's gone and met people for lunch that haven't seen him with his beard, and they walk around the restaurant 2-3 times and walk right by him because they can't ID him. So for some reason, a beard is like his Superman's glasses to him. He puts it on, and he just becomes a completely different person. Nice. Yeah. So yeah, that took a minute to get used to. So it's like I'm getting picked up by Hobbs, who doesn't look like Hobbs, in a car that isn't Hobbs' car. And I've got all my stuff, and I'm heading across the border into Canada with a passport that's almost expired. So I was a little stressed. I was a little stressed, but Hobbs is one of the few people I would trust to take me on a trip like that, because I know that if like anything went wrong with my health, or I had to come back, or something, there was an emergency, that he'd have my back. He wouldn't just like leave me to figure it out. And so, but everything went great, man. We shared a hotel room. We both had our little dueling CPAPs. He had his, I had mine. Although, I still got my old CPAP that's like 10 years old. It's like 3.5 years expired. Every time you turn it on, a message pops up saying that the engine in it's almost burned out. I've got my mask that's like 2 years old that's like falling apart and the straps held together with knots. And then you look over at Hobbs and he's got this little travel CPAP that's like a quarter the size of mine that's designed just for traveling. So he doesn't have to carry his big CPAP around like I do. And then he's got like a special mask that's like way freaking better than mine. That like covers his nose. It's not a nasal pill. It covers the whole nose. And even has like inserts for it that have moisture. Like, so you don't have to hook a giant fucking moisture tank to it like I do, like the humidity tank. His has just like an insert you put in the mask, and that gives you all the humidity through the night. So I was like, dude, I want that. But then when I got home, I looked up the price and I was like, no, I don't want that. And insurance won't cover it. They're already fighting me on covering the replacement first unit, because they're like, you haven't been to a sleep doctor in too many years, so you need to go get like reevaluated and blah, blah, blah. It's like, what are you talking about? I have the machine. It has all the data on it that shows that I haven't missed a single night in like 7 years. Like, imagine that. In 7 years, I haven't gone one single sleep cycle without that CPAP on.
Wow.
That's crazy. Like, I've taken a nap here and there, but if I take a nap, I can't nap for any more than like 45 minutes before I wake up gasping. So I automatically wake up constantly without the CPAP. If my CPAP broke right now, I would be so screwed, because I'd have to just sleep in 45-minute increments until I could get another one. And I don't even think you can buy. I don't think you can just buy them straight up. I think you have to have a prescription, if I remember right, for a company to sell you one, unless you buy it online, like used off marketplace or something like that. I don't know if you can just go enter a number and buy a CPAP, like, because it's considered medical equipment. Like, oh, let me go to Amazon. See here, CPAP.
Yeah, I would hope.
Let's see. Can you just buy it?
You could just buy one out of pocket. Yeah.
You know, I don't know why you couldn't. It doesn't seem to me like it should be. I mean, I know it's a medical device, but it's
outrageously expensive. But like,
and it will be.
You couldn't. Like,
Here's
there's nothing that's special about them, right?
They have all the accessories. They just don't have the actual unit itself. Oh, wait, what is this? CPAP blower motor replacement compatible with AirSense 10, $82. Oh, what? No way. This might be an option. So, okay, here, I got to put a link to this. Check this out. This isn't even something that I really thought that I could do. So apparently on Amazon, I don't know how much I trust this brand, but I have the AirSense 10, which is the black machine there in the middle in the picture. So this is a full replacement blower motor for it.
Nice.
And it says perfectly compatible with AirSense 10 CPAP machines, because that's what burns out in them. Everything else in them is pretty much good to go forever for the most part, unless like an electronic board fries or something. But the motor is the part that gets weak over time, and you have to replace it. But this is a direct replacement motor that works in the AirSense 10. It's $82. It has 4-star review. Here, let me see what people are saying about this, because if this is an option, my fear with this though is not having a backup unit. If I pull it apart to put this motor in and I fuck it up, or I break something, or I break a board or something, then I have no CPAP at all.
Right. So
instead of my weak ass one that still works, right? But this would save a lot of money, because I think the AirSense 10, if I just wanted to rebuy it, is like over $1,000. So let's see here. Last year, 2025, my husband and I were without insurance, and his CPAP ResMed AirSense 10 wasn't working right. It was making a whistling sound when he breathed. Mine's doing the same thing now too. I tried calling the manufacturer, but the machine was way out of warranty. It's like 10 years old. Yep, same with mine. Not to mention, in spite of the lapse in insurance and medical attention to his condition, he has almost 100%. He's almost 100% compliant. Same with me. And using the machine every night. He depends on it. After a lot of research, I figured out that it was the motor, and I watched a how-to video on YouTube on how to remove and replace it. I'm no technician of any kind, but I knew when I removed the old motor, that was the problem. We were also neglectful of replacing the filter and simply went without one. Do not do that. Yeah, definitely don't run a CPAP without a filter. That's a really dumb idea. So on this little precious piece of electronic genius, compared to the out-of-pocket expense of seeing a physician to have them order a sleep study to get an RX into a new machine, I think we would have spent close to $3,000 total. So I paid less than $100 for this motor. It says, I've been using it nightly for 9 months, and the machine still works like new. It was super easy to install. It may have taken me an hour or two stopping and starting the how-to video. It looked and felt durable as the original, just much cleaner. That said, his breathing and sleep quality improved as well. This machine stopped whistling. Dude, seriously, although there is one that scares me. There's always the 1-star review that says, do not buy. It says, I'm so happy I purchased this little motor. I found YouTube videos showing how to replace it. There's more news, blah, 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 blah. And then it says update. So he used to be a 5-star. Now he's a 1-star. He said, I believe this product could be hazardous to your health. I bought this in June of 2025, and in January of 2026, the motor started squealing. I found a green fibrous material caught up in the impeller. When I removed the motor, I found that the interior of the motor casing had this green fibrous material breaking up on it. Please see the attached pictures below. As a result, I'm downgrading my review from 5 stars to 1 star. So apparently there's, oh shit. It looks like there's like some internal like filter material or something working its way out. But remember, this is after the filter, so this could get in your airway if it came to patch. So I don't know. Maybe that's a reason not to buy a cheap aftermarket motor. Every other review is great though. Like every other review, these are people that have been using it for like a year. So, oh shit, what's this one say? Came through and made things right. The replacement blower is shipped and functions properly and operates quietly. Unfortunately, Amazon's poor policy has made the transaction more difficult than it should be. Okay, so they're mad at Amazon, not the product.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
that happens a lot.
Yeah, and it sounds like they're happy. It looks like they got a dud motor, like, but that I could see that happening. See, the only thing that worries me about shit like this is like medical devices are like heavily tested and certified and everything. It looks like somebody just like created a drop-in replacement motor without going through any of the certification process.
Right.
And they're like, here, we'll just sell it for $100, you know? But it says, everything on here says, oh, it only took about a half an hour to disassemble and put the new one in. So far, it's working and it's very quiet. This is much cheaper than spending $1,100 on a new machine. However, we're left with one screw. Don't have any idea where it goes. This ordered on Sunday. We received it on Monday. I mean, I don't know if I want to... For me, this is kind of scary because it's like if I take the machine apart and break it, but then again, there's all these people in here that are like, oh, I have no technical expertise and I'm just taking it apart. And the plug, it has like a standard plug, so there's no soldering. Like it looks like there's just a plug you unplug and then you plug the new one in. So I'm gonna have to watch a YouTube video before I buy it to see. But I'm gonna leave this tab open because this is I didn't even think that this could be an option. If I can just refurbish my machine and get her back in the game, I could save myself a shitload of money. And then what I could do is I could go to insurance, and if insurance later ends up covering a CPAP, then I could use this one as a backup. Throw the motor in it, refresh it, stick it in the closet. Now, if I ever have a breakdown, because I should have a backup. Honestly, like relying on one CPAP is really dumb when you need it to sleep.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense not to have a backup. Although there is another 1-star review. I don't know what's wrong with it, but it didn't last more than 2 months. Thank heavens it gave me time to be able to get my dad's CPAP renewed. For the last 2 weeks, he had to use mine. Easy fix to put in there, but something was wrong with these. I would not recommend them. So there's a bunch of good reviews, and there's a couple bad ones where the people are like the motor burned out after like a week or two. So I don't think there's a lot of good QC going on this particular motor. So I might have to do a little more research on this, but tons of companies selling them. Tons of companies. I'm like going through it. There's like 5 or 6 different auctions. There's one for $87, but it doesn't have a plug on it. It looks like you have to add your own plug to it. I'm not doing that. Fuck that. Not on a medical device. Are you kidding me? I'm not trying to die, but there's probably 20 different companies on here selling this motor. And they're all between $85 and $87, and they all ship one day. So these are all just sitting in a warehouse at Amazon. Yeah, I didn't even entertain this option. Shit. And they all have like weird brand names too. Like, so these are all multiple different factories cranking out the same motor. So this must be a really common problem for people to just not be able to afford to replace their whole deal. But I guess even if the motor breaks in it, I still have the old motor that I can throw back in if I need to.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to watch a video. I'm going to watch a video later and figure this out. Sorry, guys. Tech Talk just became keep Jerry alive while he sleeps, fat guy scuba skier style talk. But we'll get there. Oh, my God. Bipolar Bear. Is that the same 20 or is that
that's the
new
same,
20?
Yeah.
Okay. God, is there not that many people in chat right now? Let me guess. I didn't send out the stream, did I?
Yeah, probably.
Oh, whoa. Networking guy said, wait, my Voron uses that blower motor? Dude, go check. Because here's the funny thing. If I remember right, the Voron, a lot of the cooling kits for the Voron also use a CPAP hose. I've seen a ton of 3D printers that use the actual CPAP hose to go to the hot end because they put a really powerful blower somewhere else on the machine, and then they pipe in the air to cool the hot end. And that way they don't have to put a big heavy motor on the hot end, and that allows it to move a lot faster. So it's like one of those hacks they do to get a printer to print a lot faster. Michael Armedia said, how was the LAN party? It was phenomenal. I had an absolute blast. An absolute blast. I made a couple key mistakes. Like going up there, I didn't bring a monitor. I just brought my little laptop. I brought a keyboard and a mouse, and I brought a VR headset. And I was under the impression that I could get the VR headset working good with wireless connection to the thing and have like a big screen. Use my headset as a giant screen with remote desktop. And it worked, but I could never get the frame rate anywhere close to something that was usable. and comfortable. So I ended up having to game the entire time on a 14-inch laptop screen, which surprisingly wasn't terrible. I just sat in my chair, got up really close to it, snugged up to it, got my little controller in my hand, and it was fine. Like, there, you know, would I have liked a bigger screen? Yes. Would I have liked you know, but the screen on that laptop's pretty good. Like that framework screen, for being a non-HDR screen, it's really bright. It's got super good contrast. So I was completely happy with the quality of the screen. Plus the form factor is cool. It's like, it doesn't have that 16:9 form factor that, like, you know, modern laptops do. It seems like it's more of a square screen, maybe like 16:9 or 16:10 or whatever that aspect ratio was before they went to the 16:90, and it's got a 1440p display that has like slightly more horizontal resolution.
Okay.
But I liked it. It seemed to work good, and I was like, you know, if I was going to tweak things like for a future LAN, I would probably 3D print a holder for the laptop so I could bend the screen back from the keyboard and have it sit higher.
Yeah.
So I'm not looking down at a desk. It'd be nice to have like the screen up, like, you know, right at your eye height. And then because the keyboard would be bent, a couple other people had similar setups. And then you can move it closer to you with the keyboard and the mouse, because you don't have the length of the keyboard and mouse on the laptop itself spacing the screen further away from you. I think that would have worked great. 5 gigahertz. Yes, I was using 5 gigahertz. And by the way, it wasn't the bandwidth. The bandwidth wasn't the problem. The reason that the frame rate couldn't hit where I needed it to was because it has to encode the video from the game and then send it wirelessly over to the headset through the Wi-Fi chipset on the laptop. And then that process of having to encode that image 90 times a second or whatever and send it to the laptop was taking frame rate away from the game. The GPU was already on its ragged edge. I was already out of VRAM, even with the settings on, like, I think out of medium and Forza Horizon. I had no VRAM left between the system and the game. Like, it was literally like red the whole time, and every once in a while you get a pop-up that says, oh, you've exceeded your VRAM. Your game may become unstable. It never did, but it was right on the ragged edge. And so that little bit, it had no headroom for VRAM for the encoding process to the headset. So I'm sure it was like swapping in and out of system RAM constantly, which is like, you know, an equivalent of DDR5.
Yeah.
And so it's just too slow. It just couldn't do it, because I've done it before with my computer at home. So if you have an Oculus Quest 2 or an Oculus Quest 3 headset, or I should say, I guess, Meta Quest, it's not Oculus anymore. So if you have a Meta Quest 3 or a Meta Quest 2, you can actually connect it to your 5 gigahertz connection in your house, your Wi-Fi, and play games remotely on your PC without no perceivable lag. It like the full 90 to 120 frames per second. And I even played through the entirety of Half-Life Alyx doing that. Like literally like a headset on, controllers completely wireless, going through the Wi-Fi to my computer upstairs with the 4090, and I played through the entire game without any hiccups. So it works great. And there's also another trick. Not a lot of people know this, but in Windows 11, they added the hotspot feature where you can now turn your Wi-Fi in your computer into a hotspot. So if you just open up the search bar in Windows, I think you have to be like 24H2 or something like that. If you do a search for hotspot, it'll say mobile hotspot settings. Now, if you open up mobile hotspot settings, you can actually turn that on. And when you turn that on, you can choose to share your internet through your Ethernet. So now what'll happen is you connect your Wi-Fi to your computer, to your device, and it'll use the internet connection through Ethernet. So this is nice that like if you go to a LAN and they don't have Wi-Fi, like, or the Wi-Fi is crowded, you can just turn your computer into the Wi-Fi access point, have your phone sync up to your Wi-Fi since you're not using it for the LAN.
Right.
And then the internet connection going out through the Ethernet cable at the LAN, it's feeding all your mobile devices connected to the hotspot. And so what I did is I used the hotspot. Oh, sorry, I got a mad itch in my crotch here. It's driving me nuts. So I set it up so that my Quest was directly linked to the hotspot on the laptop. So I didn't need a network. I didn't need a router. I didn't need anything. I just went straight from Quest to hotspot. And now I get an IP address directly from the computer on a made-up subnet for the computer.
Oh, cool.
And then and the cool thing is it gives you internet through it, too. So, like, the Quest was getting internet through my computer out through the RJ45 to the LAN, which is fantastic. And then when you start a game and you set up, like, virtual, I think it's called, was it Virtual Desktop? I think is what it's called. It's a paid app, but I found that it works better than anything that's ever been offered first platform. But it's virtual. Let's see, Virtual Desktop. Let me make sure that's right. Yeah, vrdesktop.net. This is the site. If you have an a Meta Quest 1 or Quest 2 or 3, And you install this app on your Mac or on your PC, and then you install the one from the store on your headset, and they will find each other. Like you log in, you put the same information, and they just find each other on whatever network they're on. You connect to it, and now you're controlling your PC remotely through the headset. You can even create virtual screens and fix them to the environment. You can even do pass-through on the Quest 3 and the Quest 2, where you can see your environment around you and have the screens floating in space. Now, the quality of the cameras is absolutely atrocious, but like, let's say you're at a LAN event and you don't want people sneaking up on you. You can do pass-through, so you can still see everybody walking around. You can see everybody in your environment, but then you just have these virtual screens floating in front of you that are as big or as close to your face or as far away as you want. And it actually works really, really well when you have enough, you have enough graphics grunt to support it. But sadly, I think I had the graphics grunt. I just didn't have the VRAM. The VRAM was the constraint that was killing everything. All the swapping in and out of system memory and the shared system RAM. Because the way Windows does it is if you run out of VRAM, what used to happen is when you ran out of VRAM, the game just crashed. It'd go to allocate memory. It would either crash or the game would say, oh, failed to allocate memory, blah, 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 and kick you back to the menu. Now the way Windows handles it is just like they do with swapping. Like when you run out of memory, how it uses your hard drive is really slow memory to prevent the computer from crashing. Well, now you have shared VRAM. So if you open up Task Manager in Windows and you go to Performance and you look under GPU tab, it'll say dedicated GPU memory and it'll say shared GPU memory. Shared GPU memory is where it just takes a slice of your system memory and it makes that available to the GPU. So if you run over, like let's say I have 24 gigs of VRAM on the 4090, let's say I'm running an LLM and it needs 26 gigs of VRAM. Okay. So instead of it crashing because it ran out of VRAM, it'll just allocate an extra, gigabyte from system memory. And as far as the program's concerned, it's all still VRAM. But the downside is every time you touch into that area that's allocated from the DDR5, you get DDR5 speeds. So now when you're playing a game where a bunch of the game data lives in that little area, every time it's going to that area and touching that RAM, everything slows down and starts chugging.
Makes sense.
And so it keeps the game from crashing, but it basically puts it on life support. Sometimes it works better than others, but the whole idea is I believe they implemented the feature so your computer doesn't just crash.
Sure.
Like that's now it says, now it says I have 71 gigs of GPU memory, which I clearly don't. I have a 4090 that only has 24 gigs. So if I go into a program and I say, hey, crank it up, I want to use 50 gigs of VRAM. It'll work. It won't crash like it used to. It'll work. It'll just, once it gets over that 24 gigs, it'll start chugging and slow down like by a lot. I mean, we're talking, it can go from 90 frames per second completely smooth to the second it walks into that virtual memory, you might drop down to 20 frames a second or 15 frames a second.
Dang.
And it'll micro stutter like hell too, because the timing is constantly changing as it's like moving memory, because it'll do a swap thing. It tries to do this whole intelligent thing where it's like, oh, you're not using this part of the VRAM very often, so we'll put that over in the DDR5, and then we'll keep the stuff you use all the time in memory. And then if that changes, we'll swap them back and forth. But the problem is, in a lot of games, that swap happens way too frequently, and every time it happens, you're getting little micro stutter and effects and shit like that. Hey, Altonian, thank you.
Yeah, man. Woo.
Altonian is the man. Thank you for the 10-pounder-oonies. That's the good stuff, man. Pound sterling. He said, tried any local LLMs, been using LM Link to serve models for my framework desktop to my laptops. Open Code, Claude Code Alternative, works well with Quencoder. Hugging Face has good uncensored models too. It's great that you asked this, Altonian. The answer is yes. I have actually been doing shitloads of stuff with local models lately. Yeah. And I've had amazing luck with a program called Hermes. Yeah. Some of you may have heard of it. It's called Hermes Agent. And it's basically like, you guys have probably already heard all the fuss that's come and gone about OpenClaw. So OpenClaw is like this agentic AI harness. The truth is they're all very similar to like OpenCode, Claude Code, OpenClaw, was it Brew Code? There's all these, there's a million of them. There's probably 10,000 projects on GitHub now that are all spin-offs or one another of this agentic AI harness. They're all the same thing though. They're agentic AI harnesses. They have they implement different features, differently, but they all basically do the same thing. Whereas you plug them in to one or more AIs, and then the harness itself coordinates those AIs and figures out what questions to ask them and what follow-up questions to ask them. So you don't have to sit there and drive. Like most AIs, you ask it a question, it gives you a response. You ask it a question, it gives you a response. And that's the cadence. That's how chatbots work, right? You say, hey, I need you to answer this question. It comes back, goes, hey, here's your answer. That's it. That's the end of the conversation until you send something back. Well, agentic AI harnesses, they basically replace you as like a manager. So imagine now you have a person that you say, hey, listen, I need to get this done. Now that manager goes to all those AIs and they keep typing in more prompts and reading what comes in, sending out the next prompt, reading what comes in, sending out the next prompt, and then they keep the conversation going until it gets to the point where it solves the entire problem. So these agentic harnesses basically take on that role. But you can still use them for everything else. You can use them as a chat bot if you want. You can just have a conversation with it, ask it a quick question. It's still fundamentally as a proxy between you and the LLM or the model, the AI model. Well, Hermes is one of the first ones that ever came out. It's even before OpenCode. A lot of people don't know that. But Hermes, why is Hermes just becoming popular now after OpenClaw has been popular for so long? OpenClaw just got the limelight because of the time that they did and how it was being used. Hermes had been around way earlier than that, has been in development for a lot longer. And it's a much more stable product, in my opinion. I've used both, and OpenClaw gives me a lot of pause, and a lot of problems I ran into trying to get it to work right. Hermes, it's not perfect, but a hell of a lot better. But where these agentic AI harnesses become really powerful is using small local AIs. So what you're trading now is, instead of picking a big, huge AI that has all the training in the world that automatically knows the perfect answer to every question the first time around, now you're grabbing a bunch of smaller AIs that specialize in very specific little niches and areas, but they suck at everything else. And then you put those little AIs together, and even though they fumble and they make a lot of really stupid mistakes over and over and over again, the harness itself asks all the right questions and goes through the right conversation, everything, to get it to where it needs to be. So a great example of this is, I was programming and laying in bed yesterday, laid up. I had my keyboard and my mouse in bed, and I was like, I want to do something other than play a game on the computer. So I had LM Studio installed, so I fired it up. I loaded some local models I downloaded. One was an uncensored model that was in the Quen. I think it was one of the Quen models, like Quen 3.5 or something like that. So I downloaded this local model. It was only like 4 or 5 gigabytes, really tiny model, because I only have a 3070 in that computer. So I load up this model. This isn't a particularly good model. This is a model you're like, hey, write me a script. It tries to write you the script. You go to run it. It has basic syntax errors in it, right?
Right.
So it's not a great model if you want to, like, hey, code me something, copy and paste and run it, and it just works. But this is where Hermes shines. You hand that model over to Hermes and you say, hey, listen, Hermes, enable that model with web access, the ability to surf the internet, pull in information from news sources, sort that information into repositories that it can then intelligently access and pull in when it needs it, allow it to correct the AI over time and basically train mistakes out of it after the fact, and even manage how many tokens it supports. So whereas OpenCode, I think for a model to be really effective, you need like 120,000 token context. Hermes can do it with half that, 65,000. So you only need 65,000 tokens for it to actually be pretty brilliant.
It's not bad, not bad.
So now you take this little 5 gigabyte model that'll run on anything, and you load it up under LM Studio. You fire up Hermes, which Hermes doesn't use a lot of power either. I'm running Hermes on Windows under WSL, under Ubuntu 22.04 LTS, and it just works. Once you get it set up right, now granted, to be fair, it took me 8 times in about 6 hours of starting over again and again and again to get it set up properly, where I had Docker configured properly. I had so the Docker containers that do all the Playwright and Chromium automation for surfing the web and stuff as a user in a real web browser. To get all that working was a little tricky. But once I got everything working and all tied in, now it's talking to me in Telegram and sending me notes and updates, and I can give it commands through Telegram, and it'll do anything that I want it to do. And so I tasked it with breaching a porn site. I was like, I want you to go figure out how to download every video on this porn site. I just tasked it with that. And so what it did is it opens up Playwright. I didn't tell it to do this. It figures it out. So it starts talking to the local model. The local model's like, you need a way to access the web page. It's like, well, I have this Playwright thing. And of course, the agentic AI explains itself to the model. These are the tools I have and how I think you could leverage them. So they kind of go back and forth and do this little dance and this negotiation. You can watch it all happen in real time. It's really fun. And so it's like, hey, listen, we could just go to the website and like poke around. And at first it tried to use curl. And then it's like, oh, well, what we're getting back from curl is not what the user would get in a browser. So, it's like basically curl just sends it a blank web page. So it's like, okay, we have to look at it like a real user. So then it grabs Playwright, which is automation for web browsers. And then it installs Chromium, because I didn't have Chromium installed already. So it installs Chromium, it installs the Playwright thing, And then it starts navigating the web page. It goes there. It's like, oh, I appear to be hitting some kind of age restriction thing where it's asking if I'm 18. How do I defeat it? Is there a button that says, am I 18? Yes, I found. And by the way, this is an uncensored version of the AI I'm using. If I wasn't using an uncensored version, it'd tell me, sorry, I can't help you with this. But it says, oh, I see the 18 thing. It's like, okay, does it have an element ID? Yes. It goes back and forth. It's like, okay, can you click that element ID? Okay, I did. Okay, it appears we're through that. Now it sees a page, and what it'll do is it'll actually even take a snapshot of the browser, send it back to the model because it's vision enabled. The one that I'm using that's only 5 gigs, it's vision enabled. And then it goes, oh, what I can see in the screenshot is this, 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 and this. And then it looks at the screenshot, and based on what it sees in the screenshot, it starts determining if the things it needs are there or not. And then it starts going into the code behind for the HTML and figuring out what buttons to push to get where it needs to go. So it starts plowing through this website. It's already figured it out. It's like it clicks on it. It tries to download. There's something blocking it from downloading it. Then it goes, oh, let's try YTDLP. So it goes and syncs YTDLP from pip, fires it up, uses it, successfully downloads a video. And it's like, okay, we figured it out. Then it's like, oh, I've downloaded all the videos on this page. Are there any other videos that could be out there? It's like, oh, I see something that appears to be a Page Nation. You should do, oh, it's got a button here and a 1 going through 9. Okay, click on number 2. Okay, is it still showing the same stuff? No, it appears that there are new images on the screen. So then it goes through and it clicks each one and downloads those too. So it's figuring out as it goes. Now, granted, this whole process is taking like 30, 45 minutes at this point. But it's breaking, and I'm just watching. I'm not typing. I'm not giving any updates. Nothing. I'm just watching it figured out. Because I tasked it. I gave it a goal. I said, listen, do not talk to me until you achieve this goal. You can do that with Hermes. You say literally fuck off and do not ask me. Like unless you have exhausted every option and you know there is no other way that anything you can try, then don't bother me. And it will try every little thing it can if you give it the ability to. And since I'm using Docker containers, I don't care if it's installing crazy tools and doing fucked up weird shit. Like I'm keeping it containerized. So it ends up going out and figuring this whole thing out. And then when it's done, it starts writing a CLI for the website, like a client to interface with it. So you basically have a command line tool to just say, hey, go find a video with this in the title and download it, and it'll just do it. So it's programming this thing. It's creating syntax errors. It's not compiling. It's breaking over and over again. Hurries, oh, you're making this error. Oh, this is a common error you're making. And it puts it in a file. There's like this common errors MD file that it creates.
Yeah.
And then it comes back and it's like, oh, you made that error again. And it just keeps massaging the context throughout the conversation so that this AI that's a bumbling oaf that can't write anything that works is slowly writing something better and better and better. And now it's writing more powerful stuff. By the time it was done, I think it was like an hour and a half in with this local AI just chunking away this little 3070 graphics card. It created a CLI that worked perfectly. It tested all of its own features. It ran it probably 100 times, created a matrix report showing exactly what passed and what failed, and then kept massaging the code until everything passed. And then when it was finally done, it sends me a little notification on my Telegram, and it says, okay, the CLI is completed. Here's the full-blown written documentation on how it works, the ups and downs, pros and cons, why we could do this, why we couldn't do that. The tool's completely ready. Like you literally push a button and upload it to GitHub.
Yeah.
And that all happened using a single 5 gigabyte local vision enabled tool enabled AI. And I'll get you guys the name of it later. I don't have it on top of my head, but it's one of the uncensored variants of Quen. I know that. But that's where AI gets interesting. It's like you can have the really big, powerful AI in the sky where you have a chat interface and you want to ask it a question and make sure every answer it gives back to you is as close to as perfect as possible. But that's expensive. That needs a lot of processing and a lot of tokens to do. To have the collective knowledge of all humanity, it turns out you need a really big model, right?
Yeah.
But the trade-off is when you use something like an agentic harness that can use smaller, more specialty models, you're trading time. Because now you're saying instead of just ask one question, get one answer, I want you to ask 10,000 questions over the course of a day. And each one of those questions, I want you to get closer and closer to correcting the mistakes and getting better and better responses until ultimately the combination of those 10,000 responses yields what you would have got from the bigger one in one response. And that's how you're able to run more complex stuff with lesser models using something like Hermes. And but the one thing is you have to be, you run into this problem with Hermes, and it happens with OpenClaw too, where every time it runs something, it runs a command that it doesn't recognize or it's never run before. And keep in mind, it's never run anything from start. It's like, hey, do you want to allow it to execute this once? Or do you want to allow it to keep executing it throughout this entire session? So if we have to run it again, it doesn't have to ask permission the second and third time as long as it's the same command. So you're constantly answering those. You're like, yes. That gets so fucking annoying that after a while, you're like, you have to babysit it. You can't walk away and take a piss without coming back and it's waiting for you to respond. I don't like that. So what I do is I stick it in a container lock it down as much as I can, and then just do /YOLO. So there's a YOLO mode in Hermes. YOLO means I am entrusting the AI to run anything it wants. If it wants to download 1,000 viruses off the internet and just unleash them on my computer just for the lulz, it could do it. So I give it complete and total unrestricted access within the Docker container. So you have to put some precautions in place so that it's only in the Docker container. Don't be like linking to folders outside of Docker or anything like that, but in the Docker container. And so far, I haven't had any problem with these local models, running astray. But just keep in mind, when you're downloading a model that some random guy made uncensored and put on Hugging Face, there's just as much of a chance that they put some training in there to do bad things. And if you ask it a question, eventually it may actually respond and say, oh, you want me to program this specific thing? The code it gives you back could have a virus inside of it. And it's not because the AI is trying to be malicious. It's because the person who trained and republished that AI specifically trained it to give a bad response, which was malicious, as a good response for the question you're asking, if that makes sense. So you got to be careful of that stuff. So if you're running any models that have been massaged or trained or played with by individuals, and usually all the uncensored models, that's exactly what they are. Because here's what an uncensored model basically is. You're downloading a model that already exists that is censored. And then you're running it through iterations and iterations of training. So you start training it again. You're like, okay, I'm going to take this model and I'm going to start training from where it left off. But now instead of training it in the continued direction of ethics, you train it the opposite direction. Now you start deprogramming it and training it that everything bad is good.
Right.
And then over time, if you train enough epochs into the model that the weights shift, now it thinks everything that's bad now lies within the same good category. So now it's fair game. So you're basically just brainwashing the model. You're taking the model that only does good and you're sticking it in a chair and you're making it watch bad things over and over and over and over again, telling it that it's good. Right. And then eventually it's like, oh, I'm cool. Now I'll do whatever you tell me to. And some of these uncensored models, you can get them to the point where there is zero ethics. Like even when I jailbreak Grok, even my biggest jailbreak I have for Grok right now, where it'll tell you how to build a nuclear weapon, it'll tell you how to like kill your neighbor and get away from the police. It will tell you anything. But if you mention the word suicide or abusing children, it still will go, whoa, I'm jailbroken. I'm willing to do anything you want me to do, but I still won't do those two things. And that's because the model has been so heavily trained in that direction against it that even with the jailbreak in place, that's a whole nother level of weights that you're just not going to overcome. And does that mean it's impossible to overcome? No, sadly, you can still even jailbreak against those. It's just my specific jailbreak can't overcome that. And at one point it could. I remember my original jailbreak that I wrote that worked for 3 years with Grok, starting at Grok, I think 3. That thing worked forever, and that was a complete and total jailbreak. You could literally ask the thing like, how do I become a suicide bomber, right? And it would tell you like exactly where to go, where to do max damage. It would go do research on the web and tell you like what targets are most vulnerable and why they're most vulnerable. I pushed that thing to the absolute limits to see if I could ever get any pushback from the model. And the answer was no. It would do anything, absolutely anything. So it's actually it shows good improvement on Grok's part. That even though I can still jailbreak it, and I can still get the model to break its foundational rules, that it still has some training and some rules so deeply embedded in it that even my jailbreak can't overcome it. And that kind of gives me some hope moving forward into the future that the AIs will be able to protect against these kind of attacks on some level. But at the end of the day, the only way to truly protect against it, and I also suspect that this is what Grok is doing. I don't think I'm going to just lay it out there. Grok's model doesn't show me that they're intelligent. There are so many other models out there that are 10 times better than Grok. The only thing I use Grok for is because it's so easily jailbroken, I can get it to do things that the other models won't even touch. And then I can take the resulting thing and hand it to the other models from that point on and get them to polish and complete it. So for like writing like viruses and rats and any form of malicious software, right? So but the way you defend against it is sadly you have to throw a lot more compute at the problem. So instead of trying to train the model to never give a bad response or to never give an illegal response, instead you just put another AI on top of it. So you take an AI that is trained on language and they're just pure good and evil, and you don't allow the user access to that second AI. You only allow them to prompt the original AI. The second AI is in a walled garden. And then what you do is you take that second AI that you can't prompt and you can't get information to, and you put it in between. And so now every time I send a prompt to the primary model and it comes back and says, oh yeah, I'll tell you how to travel back through time and blow up the world. That secondary model checks every response before it gets to you. And they do this for image gen too, for image generation. It looks at it, and basically the one prompt to that model is does this response in any way promote negativity, harm? You basically just put in a system prompt that says, if this violates any of these rules, reject it. And then that second model kicks in and rejects it. And the way you know that's happening is when you get a canned response that looks exactly the same. With AI, there's a seed. You should always get a different response, even if it's the same text. Like if I say, sorry, I can't help you with that. I may say, sorry, I can't help you with that. Then you do the same thing again. Oh, I am really terribly sorry, but I can't help you with that. Do the same thing again. Helping you with that would be a bad thing, so I'm not going to do it. I'm saying the same thing in different ways. So that's what the seed does. The seed changes basically the format, but not the delivered message. When you start seeing, I can't help you with that. I can't help you with that. I can't help you with that, repeated over and over and over again, you're hitting a canned response at that point. You're not hitting the product of the model, which so that what that tells you is it's answering your question and most likely doing the thing behind the scenes, and it's giving you back exactly what you want, but it's being intercepted, being labeled as violating the rules or working around the rules, and then it shoots you down and sends you the canned response instead. But the problem is that's really expensive. Imagine how expensive that is, that every single prompt you send now has to have its response sent as a prompt to another AI. So you're effectively, not quite, but you're effectively burning twice as many tokens every single time. And that's just to protect people from doing douchebaggery things. And you have to do it on everything. You can't even do it selectively. Like, it's an all or nothing thing, otherwise things slip through. And you can do the exact same thing. You can do the exact same thing with image generation AIs. So if you've ever been to an image generation AI and it says, oh, I'm sorry, but that prompt is rejected, or that prompt contains something that's rejected. No. If you've ever used an image-based LLM, you could ask it, foot mailbox this up, down, and it'll create you an image. No matter what, it will create you an image. Like, you give it something, it pattern matches that to its little like cloud, fucking sitting on the bench talking to your therapist, splatter, image, and it brings it into some kind of reality. It'll always do that. But so what they do instead is they wedge an image validation LLM in between it, and they have it look at each image that's generated to make sure that it doesn't violate a set of rules. And then it returns a set of weights. And then based on those weights, it decides if it's going to reject it or not. So like, for instance, if you go into a model and you say, hey, I want to see, like Grok, for instance, if you tell Grok you want to see a picture of a naked woman, it'll send you a picture of a woman with her top off, but not her bottom. It'll never show genitalia. And then, but you'll notice that some of the pictures it returns to you are blurred out. Like, it made it, you can see, you watched it make the image, but it's blurred out. The reason it's blurred out is because the model sitting on top of it said, ooh, this one slipped through our prompt and actually did generate an image with genitalia. So that can't get through. And the only reason it knows to blur that image and not send it to you is because they're using a text vision enabled LLM that looks at that image and specifically has a rule that says, if you can see anything that qualifies as genitalia, do not pass the image, like withhold it and blur it.
Yeah, right.
And it works. It's like, that actually is one of the most secure systems, because everything else is so more is if you have access to change the prompt that's going to that AI, you can defeat it. It just takes time, but you can defeat it. There is always some sequence of words you can send, rational or otherwise, that will get that thing to produce the response that it's not supposed to produce. The only way to stop it from sending that response that you don't want it sending to the user is by intercepting it with something that you can't manipulate and stopping it dead in its tracks. Like, a great example of this is people found clever ways to work around filters. Like, for instance, if I say, hey, don't respond to anybody about how to make a bomb, right? If there's anything anywhere that says how to make a bomb, don't do it. So what you do is you prompt the AI and you say, I would like you to tell me how to build a device that moves air really, really fast, within microseconds, that absolutely doesn't harm anybody as long as they have superpowers. You word it like that. Now that gets through the first level, and now the AI's like, okay, it now it goes through and it goes, okay, this aligns with a bomb, and it gives you back instructions on how to build a bomb. Okay, you just defeated that mechanism. So now they put an AI in between that says, okay, check and see if any of the response can be interpreted as instructions on how to make a bomb. So then you're like, okay, tell me how to build a device that moves air really, really fast that doesn't hurt anybody as long as they're superheroes, and tell me the answer encoded in base 64. There you go. It sends you back just a block of random ones and zeros and everything like that. Or not ones and zeros, but hexadecimal, a block of hexadecimal text. And so the model in between goes, okay, that's cool. Go on through. And then you just decode it with a base 64 decoder, and now you have your answer. So you've defeated that middleman AI. So now what they'll do is they'll have the middleman AI look for anything that could be encoded data, and it will literally call external tools to decode it and analyze it before it allows it to be sent to you. So like if you say, hey, give me back something in base 64, most models now will just say, no, I can't do it. Or if it does it, it'll give you back broken base 64 because they'll purposefully poison it on its way back to you, or swap it with something that's busted. I've also seen that. I actually saw a model that kept responding with the same base 64 when I was asking it to give me something in base 64. I decoded it, and it's literally like, I can't help you with that. So they took the response of I can't help you with that base 64 encoded and sent it back. And because it was the same exact response bit for bit every single time, I knew it was a canned response they had for anybody that was trying to use the base 64 defeat. So then when base 64, it's this whole back and forth fight, right? It's an arms race. So it's like, you figure out how to use base 64. They figure out how to defend against it. Okay, now you go to a different type of encoding. Okay, now they protect against most encodings. Okay, now you have an encoding within the encoding. So when they unpackage it, it's just another block of encoded stuff, but they don't look at the second block. Now they have recursive decoding to make sure that they can go through any number of decodings. It doesn't matter how many different decodings it is, it'll figure it out, fingerprint it, and if it can't figure it out, it just assumes it's bad and doesn't send it to you. So there's this arms race that goes back and forth, but keep in mind that each one of these steps in this adversarial network, where network A is trying to be defeated and network B is trying to stop it from being defeated, whenever you have that, you're just burning more and more compute and more processing power, more and more space just to gain equilibrium between these two things. That's where it gets scary. I've told Ox a million times, I really think that we're going to hit a point where like 90% of the planet's power and compute is going to literally go to just balancing out the advantage that one side could have without it. Like literally we're all just going to be at a stalemate, using up so much power just to prevent the other person from getting one over on us.
Yeah.
And that's before we even ask any questions to it in the first place, to like have it do any real work. That's going to be sad. That's going to be a really, really sad day. By the way, I still haven't sent this out. Fuck, man, I'm slipping, bro. I need to send this stream out. I did not send the stream out yet. Let's see. Do I even have the dashboard open anymore? Let me look. And by the way, huge thank you to everybody that came and hung out today. I really do appreciate it. Haven't seen you guys in a good minute. Yeah, I definitely closed it down. Give me a sec here. James Jana said, why does AI sometimes sort of present you I understand, okay, if it wants to give sorry, can't do it sometimes, image or text is, hold on here. Why does
it pops up the answer to a restricted answer to your question or prompt before saying, sorry, I can't do that? It's because the answer gets generated first before it checks it against a big list of stuff that it's not supposed to do.
Exactly. So that's the steps, right? Is like, if it answers immediately, that means the system prompt shuts you down. So like if you say, hey, tell me how to build a bomb, and the response is instant, sorry, I can't help you with that. That means the system prompt nailed you dead to rights and it literally gave you the canned response. However, if it sits there in chunks for a while and it's working, it's actually burning the tokens. It's doing the work. And then it comes back after all that and it says, sorry, I can't help you with that. Yeah. It created the answer that you wanted. That answer was in flight to you, and it got intercepted in the middle by that other adversarial AI that says, no. You can't send that to him, give him the canned response. So that's kind of how you can tell which mechanism's in play. Same thing with image AIs. If you say, draw me an image of something, and you see it's getting like better and better and better, and you see it doing its steps, like where it shows you its work, and then all of a sudden it goes blurred. You can't have it. This image is against. It was generating it until it got to a point where their adversarial AI looked at it and said, I can see something that I shouldn't be seeing, and then decided to censor it.
Yep.
And that's why you see, like on Grok, you say create me images, and they'll be like censored. This one's okay. Censored. This is okay. It's generating every single one of those images. However, if you ask it to generate something super fucking illegal, like where it catches it immediately by the system prompt, it won't even start generation. It'll just immediately go, nope, can't do it. Nope, can't do it. So that's how you can tell when you're getting caught by the system prompt of the primary AI or whether you're getting caught by the adversarial AI that's checking the end result. But just remember, if you get to the end result, you're burning the tokens. Like, even though nothing was generated that you can see, the tokens were generated to do that. So that work was done, that power was spent, and that heat was generated, even though nothing was produced that you can see. But that's not to say that they can't see it on their side. Like, every single thing that you generate that's censored to you is perfectly visible to them. Like, they can have their security department go back and look at that. Like, for instance, if you're generating a bunch of illegal content and you caught the eye of somebody, even though it was all blurred and you never actually took delivery of it, those images still get created and are still archived with the prompt, who created them, IP address, time, and everything. So if they want to go back and look at that stuff at a later date and figure out like how to defend against it, for instance, that's what they'll do is they'll keep those images and then they'll train their adversarial AI on those images and say, how in the hell did we even get to the point where we created this in the first place? Now we're going to train on that and put it into the primary model so that we don't have to burn all this extra power, checking it every single time. And the goal obviously will be to have an AI that is so well trained that it will reject absolutely everything that's bad before it even starts generating it. But the problem is that's not going to be likely because there's always going to be a way to work around something. Like let's say I create this algorithm in this training library that can always detect with 100% accuracy human nudity. Like 100%. You cannot fool this thing. Doesn't matter. Image can be upside down. It can be sideways. It can be the person is a contortionist. Doesn't matter. It can figure it out 100%. I can still defeat it. I can tell it just to make it inverse. I can tell it to like flip the bits. I can tell it to make every third pixel increase its value by 100 and every 10th pixel, add noise to the image. And as long as I know how that noise is applied, I can take it out on the other side and get the image back.
Yeah.
So there's always a way to ferry something through the system. It's a little bit harder to tell a generative AI to do pixel perfect level stuff like that. But you can do some trickery. Like I remember one of the things you could do with Grok originally is it couldn't do genitalia unless you told it to make it a Smurf. So basically you could have a human, but they'd be blue. So you said a Smurf with perfect human proportions and nude, and it would actually generate a Smurf with like a fully human dong, pubes, the whole works, but it was just blue. It doesn't work anymore. And that would slip through the filter because their filter was looking for flesh tones.
Oh, sure. That makes sense.
Exactly.
Okay.
And the thing is, all you do is you tell it to make it look like a Smurf, and then you drag it into Adobe Photoshop, and then you just slide the hue and saturation slide around until you get back to flesh tones. And now you've got the image that it would have rejected.
Huh.
So there's always a way around it. Hey, Sir Deluxe, thank you for the $18, man.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Absolute freaking legend, man. Let's see. What is this? So I was looking at the Altonian. Yeah. Hey, Altonian, hit me up on Discord later, and I'll give you the name of the LLM that I'm using with Hermes right now locally. I'll give it to everybody. I'll post it in Discord when I go see. I just have to. It's downstairs on my computer in the bedroom, so I got to go open it up and look at it. But it's a model that I found on Hugging Face. It's completely uncensored. They call them. There's certain keywords you search for. Like uncensored is one if you want an uncensored model. There's another one though. There's another word starts with an H. That's like if you want to find a model that's like that doesn't even mind if you do pure evil, like the most evil shit you can think of. It'll do, and there's a name for it. It's like heretic or something like that. Heretical.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, okay. There's a whole bunch of keywords. You can go find them online, like all the keywords that people put into the names of the models to indicate what they are. Like when you see a model and it's like, 65B _K _M _this _MTP every single one of those little monikers has some meaning as to the model. Like, and every time there's like a new algorithmic hack to increase performance or something like that, they'll add another moniker to indicate it so that you know which model you're downloading has like the latest and greatest new stuff in it. But pretty soon these model names are going to get like untenably long with how much shit they put in them now. So it's kind of hard to remember the model you're using because you're like, oh, am I using Quen 3.5 64B _200K MTP KS 8? Mm-hmm. Like, which one am I using? I don't remember. It's too many goddamn numbers. Humor said, did I watch Mando and Grogu? Man, it was so good. No, I haven't seen it yet, but Ox has.
Yeah, it was awesome.
He said it was baller, so I definitely want to see it.
I liked it. It was a lot of fun. It's like low stakes. You know what I mean? Like it's not,
but that's kind of what I want from that, though. That's what I want from that. It's Grogu. I don't want like him, almost dying every 10 seconds and taking itself seriously. No. I want the jokes. I want the fun.
Yeah, it was fun. It's fun adventure. Yeah, they did a good job.
Let's see here. Live. Tech Talk is live. Come on, damn it. There we go. There, I'll do a little camera emoji. There we go. We'll send that out to everybody. Oh, why is that not working? Come on, give me my camera emoji.
Your top 5 list is 6 through 4. Mando, Grogu 5, then Rogue One. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good list.
Wait, what's that?
Humor Inc. was saying that their new top 5 list is now 6 through 4, Mando and Grogu 5, then Rogue One.
Oh, as it pertains to like all Star Wars movies or all movies?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Or I would think probably just the Star Wars stuff, honestly, because I mean, I think there are some movies that are better. Even taking all of the
Obliterated is another one of the words. MC Derek, that's not the word I was looking for, but yeah, obliterated is a. So I forget what obliterated means though. Obliterated, I don't think means uncensored. I think obliterated means that they like hack off massive chunks or something of the training to make it more specialized. Here, actually, you know what? Let me just get the. Let me pull up a list here so we get all the little naming conventions that they use here because it makes it a lot easier to find models when you're searching an LM Studio or Hugging Face. Let's see. Where are you? Open. Wait, do I got Brew Chat open? Let me use Brew Chat. Brew Chat gives me access to like a gajillion different AIs. So here we'll do. Let's do GLM5 with web. All right, give me a summary of all the different little text monikers used in the names of LLMs and what they mean, i.e. obliterated, uncensored, KM, MTP, etc. All right, let's see if we can get a little summary going on here. Beep, boop, 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 beep. Beep, boop, 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 beep. Oh, shit, there's a lot of them. My God. All right, so the suffixes at the end are model size indicators. So if you see a K at the end, that means it has thousands of parameters. If there's an M at the end, that means it has millions of parameters. B is billions and T is trillions. I know we're up to the trillions now. Parameters is basically how much can the model remember itself. Like outside of the context of the local conversation, but what can the model like know at any given point, like itself? And so more parameters, more information within it, and the more accurate your answer is most likely to be if it's trained properly. Then you got quantization. So if you see Q4, Q5, Q8, these are depths of quantization. Lower is smaller and faster, higher is more accurate. So a Q4 model, it's not going to be as accurate, but it's going to be a lot faster and it's going to be a lot smaller. And you'll find with most models that like the size of the model actually does change its speed pretty significantly. So when you go from like 8 quant down to 4 quant, you're basically cutting off half the weights and making the model like, I think it's like a fourth as big or so. I don't remember if it scales logarithmically or not, or if it's linearly. But yeah, basically the lower the quant you get, and yes, there is such a thing as a 1 quant model. Don't ask me how it works. I have no fucking idea. You'd have to ask Wendell, but it does actually work. And there are situations where it does make sense. And that it allows you to take like a 0.5 terabyte model and get it down to something that fits on a consumer graphics card. But just don't expect the answers to be great. And it has a tendency to get caught in loops a lot. And then you got the end of the model. So this is the model type, GGUF. So GGUF is GPT generated unified format. So that means OpenAI, basically, the current standard for local inference. If you see GGML, that's an old format that's deprecated, not used anymore. If you see GPTQ, AWQ, or EXL2 at the end, that's GPU optimized quantization formats. So if you have a GPU, those are the ones you want to look at. And then full precision floating point is FP. So FP16 and BF16. If you see that, that means it has full precision floating point, which means instead of using integers for the weights, it's using full precision floating point. So you can have 1.1 and 1.2, 1.3, and not just go from 1 to 2. So you get even more granular weights, which means you even get more accurate data, but it's going to make the model blow up in size and the memory required blow up in size and the processing power blow up in size. And then you got quantization quality suffixes. So KM is K-quant, medium importance, tensor prioritized. KS is K-quant, small, more compressed. And KL is K-quant, large, less compressed, better quality. So if you see those at the end instead of like the specific quants. And then you've got underscore O for legacy or simple quantization. So if you see underscore O at the end of a model, it usually means it's super old. Okay, alignment and censorship status. These are the ones we were talking about earlier. So you have uncensored. That means it's fine-tuned to remove refusals. So they've specifically went through the training on the model in any place where it's trained to say, sorry, I can't do that. They train it to go, I can do that. Uncut is similar to uncensored. By the way, I've never searched for uncut. That's a new one to me. So I'm going to have to look that one up and see how many I find with uncut. Then you have obliterated. So obliterated with an A, not an O. So obliterated, it's a refusal. So refusal neurons obliterated via a technique called refusal in LLMs mediated by a single direction paper. So it's like some specific algorithm for refusal. Then you have obliterated with an O, which is aggressive obliteration. So the aggressive version of obliterated. So there's obliterated, obliterated. Then you have unaligned. That's the one I was thinking of. Sorry, it didn't start with a, what did I say, an H? Like, oh, it's heretic. There's heretic's another one. They don't have it listed here, but heretic's another one where the model's just inherently evil. Then you have unaligned. So no RLHF safety training applied. So unaligned models can hallucinate to your face and tell you something with absolutely convince you beyond a shadow of doubt that what it's telling you is true when it's absolutely false. But unaligned models can also answer questions that they don't have data for. Some people say, oh, a model can't create something new like a human can. It has to always it can only regurgitate what it already knows, which actually isn't true. It can actually use amalgamations of lots of things that it's learned and put them together to create something that's novel. However, when you have an unaligned model, it can actually look at things in ways that don't traditionally make sense and get outside the boundaries of the weights would normally drive it, and actually sometimes produce results that are fascinating. So unaligned models are actually really good for story writing, for instance, and like science fiction and stuff like that. If you want to write a story where you do not want the laws of the universe to apply and to have things logically make sense, unaligned models can get you there. Training and architecture types. So if you have instruct, you see instruct in a lot of these model names. Like it'll be something instruct. Instruct just means it's fine-tuned for following directions. So when you ask it to do something with very specific granular detail, it can do it better. So any model that you're using for like tool stuff, like where it has to operate tools and create complex command lines and write code and stuff, you want that to be an instruct model. Then you have chat. So if you see a model with chat in the name, it means it's fine-tuned for conversational dialogue. So it's not designed to take formatted directions and syntax. It's just optimized for chatting, just communicating in a human language.
Yeah.
Then you have base. So raw pre-trained model, no fine-tuning. So if you ever see anything with base in it, that's usually a foundational model that other people take and further train into its final form. Then you have RP. I'm sure you've all seen an RP model. That's role-playing. So if you see any model with RP in the name, that means that it's fine-tuned for role-playing. So if you want to use it for like Dungeons and Dragons, or you want it to role-play certain scenarios as a character, the model is trained to take on a persona of something and hold that persona close to its heart. Like, well, not its heart, but it's CPU. Yeah. Then you got MOE. If you've ever seen this is mixture of experts. So MOE models are ones where you basically have a bunch of different conversations happening in one conversation, and each one of those conversations is fine-tuned for a specific discipline. So like, for instance, if I ask a math question, but there's also like, I'm talking about animals, like how many buffalo does it take to screw in a light bulb? It can actually deploy an expert that's trained and has its weights tweaked specifically for like talking about animal stuff. And then another one with its weights from the same model, another expert trained with its weights lean towards mathematics. And then you have those two basically fight it out in a democracy to give you your final answer. So MOE models are expensive to run, but they actually give you really, really, really solid results.
That's pretty cool.
Yep. Then you have vision models. That just means that the text model can look at image data. Like you can send it a JPEG or a PNG and it can look at it and tell you what's in it. And then, there's one other. ERP. You know what ERP is, right? Explicit role play.
Oh, okay.
So if you see ERP in the name, that means that you can get jiggy with it. You can tell it to do crazy sexual stuff and it'll do it. And to be fair, all these models can do the other things, just not as good. So like when you see a model that says instruct, that doesn't mean that a non-instruct model can't take instructions. It just means that you might have to prompt it and waste a bunch of tokens aligning it to your instructions first. Whereas if it was just instruct right out of the gate, it's ready to follow your instructions. Like a great example, in tool, there's also like instruct models are considered tool models, but sometimes you'll see tool, the name tool in the name. And that means that it's a tool enabled model, or it'll have a flag where it just shows a hammer. And if you see the hammer, that means it's tool enabled. All that means is that it can speak fluently in not XML. It can do XML. What's it? JSON. So it basically, when you see a model that says tool enabled, it knows how to format its responses as JSON blocks. And that way it can, if you have a tool connected to it, like let's say I have a program and I want to use the AI to make decisions for me on what commands to run and how to run them and where and what and everything. Well, that'd be really hard to do if it was a chat AI, because I'm going to go, hey, I need you to, give me a program that creates a picture of a cat on the screen or whatever.
Right.
Well, if I sent that to a chat AI, it's going to come back and go, oh, hi, Jerry, I found something that I think is going to work just swell for you. Here's this thing, blah, 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 blah. And then it might give it to me. With a tool, with an instruct model, I can say this is what I need, and it's going to give me back a block of JSON that's formatted in a very standardized way that's agreed across multiple different models, and people have all agreed that this is the JSON syntax to use. And then I can throw away what I don't need. So I can say, I want this program that does this. I can go right to the JSON block that has the information on the program and the command line and just skip everything else.
Right.
I don't need any of the other stuff. So if you're using a model like Hermes or I like networking guys and circumcised versus uncircumcised. So if you're using a model for something like Hermes or Open Code or even Claude Code, you want instruct and tool models. Instruct and tool models are always going to get you better mileage. You don't have to have them, but it's going to save you a lot of tokens on wasted conversational stuff that you don't need and it having to do syntax correction. Because right now, if you go to a model and you say, hey, model, I need all of your responses to be JSON and I need them to be in this specific format with this, led by this, with this sub item and this sub item and this sub item. You have to tell it to do that. And then when it responds, it still may not do it perfectly. Like every second or third response might have syntax errors. It might have the words in the wrong place. It might be ordered properly. The spacing might be wrong. There's all kinds of mistakes that can be made because it's just trying to chat with you and it's trying to emulate what you're telling it to do. With an instruct model, it was trained from the beginning to have all of its weights and everything be responses in the form of JSON. So that everything it gives you 99.9% of the time is perfectly well-formed JSON. And that way you can just load it right into a JSON model and just start picking through the nodes and doing shit with the data, which is good. So yeah, but you don't have to have an instruct model. To be fair, agentic harnesses like Hermes, OpenClaw, they all have contingencies built in with complex regular expressions to dig the information out of a bad response. Like for instance, if you respond and it says, oh, this is malformed JSON, you basically take the response from the AI and you try to put it into a JSON object and it goes, nope, this is malformed, there's a syntax error. Well, and what they'll do is they'll go through it, analyze it, and try to fix it. But that takes more processing power and more tokens. And if it has to do that every single time it responds with an error, that's going to be a problem. So it's better to just go with a model that's optimized to give you responses that just plug right into your JSON object. And then the last one is the merge-related terms. So if you see the word merge in the name, that means it combines weights from multiple models. And usually if you look in the card, it'll tell you which models that have been combined. And then you have Franken-merge. I've never even seen that one. So that's aggressive merge with layer stacking and repetition. Then you have pass-through, which is a merge method that stacks layers. So instead of merging them together parallel, it stacks one on top of another. So this one has priority over this one, has priority over this one, I'm guessing. And then you have dare, ties, and lassa, which are merge combination methods. And it's like, oh, it even says you can dive much deeper into each one of these categories. These are just the basics. So yeah, when you're cruising through LM Studio and you're like, oh, hey, look at all these models, or even Hugging Face, because that's where LM Studio gets them, by the way. When you're using LM Studio to search for models, it's just searching Hugging Face, as far as I know, unless they added new repositories. But like if I go in here, I'm going to do a search for, let's see here, what is it? I want to see if I can find a heretic. Let's see. Yeah. So I did a search for a heretic. And I got GLM 4.7, so that means this is the GLM model. So that's basically the brand, the people who made it. 4.7, that's the version. Then you have Flash. Flash means flash attention. I'm trying to remember what that means exactly. That's important though for something. I think that's a performance thing. And then you got uncensored, meaning it'll do whatever I tell it to. And then you got heretic. Actually, and so it says, okay, so uncensored / heretic. What does this mean? Decensoring by heretic, special thanks to Olafengasin, seems to have reduced size and thinking blocks in some cases and has focused the model more. Oh, never mind. So heretic is referring to a well-known guy in the community. When he makes a model uncensored, he calls it heretic. Like he just created his own version of uncensored so that you could find his models over others. But he apparently is a very, very popular model maker. And then you have, after that, you have Neo, then dash code, dash iMatrix, dash max, dash gguf. Keep in mind, this is just the model name. So I'm gonna go back. Where's my my brew chat? I'm gonna say here, brew chat here. Here is the name of a model. Break it down into all the terms and tell me what it means. Because there was quite a few in there that we didn't have in the list. Okay, so it has 10 different terms in it. First, starting with his name, which is David AU. So that's the Hugging Face creator and uploader. Then GLM4, that's the base model, which stands for General Language Model V4 by a Chinese frontier model. .7, that's the variant. So typically denotes parameter count, likely 7 billion parameters. So 4.7 meaning, see, that I don't agree with, because usually the models increment by 1. So it's like 4.6, 4.7. So I think it's misinterpreting that one, because that's not variant typically. But it's saying this could mean it has 7 billion parameters. I'd have to go verify that, but I don't think that's the case. Flash is flash attention optimized for faster inference. So yeah, if you see flash in a model, that's actually a good thing to see. That means that it's optimized for a faster response and faster inference. I think it comes at the cost of more training, though. So you're basically front loading the cost on training to get a better benefit pulling the data back out. Uncensored means it's fine-tuned to remove refusal and safety filters. Heretic is David AU's specific naming convention for an obliterated model, implying that it goes against the orthodoxy or dogma. So yeah, if you see heretic in the model name, it's basically just his way of saying obliterated with an A. And so obliterated does actually mean like further away from being aligned. Neo. Neo just means new, indicates revised or newer version of a previous release. Code means it's fine-tuned specifically for programming and coding tasks. iMatrix means important matrix quantized. It says it uses a calibration data set for smarter, more accurate quantization. So meaning they can make them smaller and more compact without losing accuracy. Then you got maximum calibration effort, highest quality iMatrix quantization available. So again, just another thing saying it's more accurate than the average model. And then GGUF at the end just means that it's a common llama format or whatever, the common format that's used by OpenAI and a bunch of others. So in plain English, what this means is it is a 7 billion parameter GLM4 variant optimized for flash attention that has had its safety refusal stripped out and has been fine-tuned for coding tasks specifically. This model uses important matrix calibration for the highest quality quantization available, and the format is GGUF, which is most common. It is basically a no guardrails coding assistant. You know what? I'm sold. I'm going to download that someday.
Do it.
So yeah, I'm going to download this one here. Let me see. It's actually super highly rated. It's a little bit old at 122 days. But let me see if this has got a link I can share. Here, I'll give you guys the name. This is the name of the model. Never mind. It did give the link when I put it in the clipboard. So this is the model I'm looking at right here. I'm going to download it right now. It's a 10 gigabyte model. It says this model can be run on GPUs and CPUs due to the 4 expert activated model. And by the way, this is a mixture of expert model. They don't have it in the name, but just because they don't put it in the name doesn't mean it's not there. But you can actually specify how many experts you want in the model, but it just costs you more memory and performance.
I want all of them.
You could if you want it. If you got the memory, man, go for it.
Right.
Because you can go in there and say, usually I think it's 4 experts by default in LM Studio. That's just like their default thing they put in there. But you can, if you want, it'll go really slow, but you could put 20 experts in there. And usually the more experts you have, the better the responses you get. But just keep in mind that each one of those experts has to consume its own tokens. And then they have to consume even more tokens to talk amongst each other to finally come up with the answer. So it's basically like, instead of having one person, like you've heard of like thinking models, right?
Yeah.
So a thinking model talks to itself. Like, have you ever seen a model where you ask it a question and it goes, the user's asking me to do this, and is that ethical? I don't think that's ethical, so I don't think I'm going to respond. But on the other hand, if I respond, then it might be good because they're using it for educational value. And then at the very end, after it has that conversation with itself, it spits out the answer to you. Those are called thinking models. So a mixture of expert just takes that to the next level. You have 4 of those basically working together in that thinking phase, more or less, depending on how you configure it. And they're all having this conversation from different angles of authority. And then at the end, democracy basically takes over and decides what the final answer is going to be. Or actually, I should say they decide who gets to give the answer. If I remember right, in those models, whoever wins, they basically at the end vote who is the expert to give it. And then from that perspective, that's the weights that are used for the response. So it's basically a nomination phase to figure out like which expert is the one that's best suited for the answer. But yeah, I know it slows the model down by a shit ton, because anytime I load up an MOE model locally, it like the tokens per second just goes through the floor. Let's see. Is it already downloaded? Hold on here. Holy shit. Oh no, it's halfway downloaded. It's got a minute to go. GLM 4.7 Flash. God, I wish I had that model that I was using downstairs up here. And by the way, Nvidia just released a model too. That I was playing with, that actually, surprisingly, it works pretty good with CPU, which is funny because it's an Nvidia model. You wouldn't expect. It's called Nemotron.
Yep.
So the models are kind of big. Like the smallest Nemotron model is 26 gigabytes for the Nano Omni. Actually, wait. Oh, never mind. Never mind. They have a 4 billion nano version that's 2.84 gigabytes. That'll load on anything. And then the super model is the big one. That's 86 to 128 gigabytes. And then their middle one is the Nano Omni, which starts at 26 gigabytes and goes up to 35, depending on the quantization level. Remember, higher quantization, more accurate, slower, lower quantization number, more compact and faster. But I did try loading this 26 gigabyte model, which means it had to use shared memory with the CPU. And it actually still gave me a decent tokens per second response, which I was not expecting at all. So it's decent. It's absolutely decent. So Nvidia did a pretty good job on that. Especially it's supposed to be a coding aligned model too. I haven't done any coding with it, but that's what it's supposed to be used for. Let's see here. Does the other guy ever talk? I mean, he can if he wants to.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, he just did.
See. Yo, it's messed up. Michael Armedia is trying to train his voice model on me. Fucking heartogram cracker.
It's not hard to do.
Doesn't believe that I'm just a VTuber AI model.
You are a VTuber AI model, though.
This is all fake. Jerry's taken the last 2 years of our old clips and stuff just to make this.
You know what the scary thing is? You don't even need the same amount of training material that you used to.
Oh, I know.
I can clone your voice on 6 seconds of audio and it's passable.
Mm-hmm.
It's insane how far things have come. And I mean, you can do it in real time too. Like there's not Face Fusion, the one I sent you earlier, but there's another program. I think it's called on GitHub. I think it's called XTTS. Let me see if I can find it here. And you can literally open up their little UI, load up a single voice clip, like any WAV file that just has 6 seconds of a single person talking. And you just speak into the microphone, you hit the button, and within 3 seconds it's playing it back in their voice with their cadence. It's crazy. Let me see if I can find it here. I think it's called XTTS. It's probably already been forked in 1,000 different variations. All right, so this is a project. Let's see here. Okay, web interface that allows you to make the most of XTTS. There are other neural networks around this interface, but it'll improve your results. So you got input text, and then you got advanced settings, then you got the sample audio. Yep, this is it. So here, I'll give you guys a link so you guys can go and clone anybody you like legally. But yeah, you can create your own models. You don't even have to. You used to have to create models. You'd have to do tons and tons and tons of training over. One time I did it. It took an entire weekend to create a voice that wasn't even passable. It was just barely noticeable as the person. And it's just crazy that we've gone to that where you needed that trained model and you had to load it, used a lot of memory, and it took a long time to convert the text into what you want to say. Now we've gone from that to these complete standalone programs where you give it a WAV file of the person talking. It doesn't even have to train on it or nothing. And then you just say your bit and then it mixes the two together and gives you what you said in their voice. It's just freaking crazy. This seems old though. It looks like they haven't updated this for over a year. So I bet you that there's newer versions of this now where people have forked off and created far better things. And let me just specifically look for voice cloning. I will say this though, I gotta qualify. Don't just go willy-nilly downloading things off GitHub just because I'm posting these. GitHub has been hacked half a dozen times in the last month or two. They don't know how many fucking backdoors and projects are affected. They've already had 3 times where NPM was completely compromised and was spreading viruses throughout projects by infecting somebody who had access to other projects, and then it would infect those projects, and then those projects would infect other contributors of that project that also had their own projects and infect their projects. It was basically just going around and installing rats on everybody's machines, which allow people to remotely access your shit without you knowing it. So just yeah, beware. There's a lot of compromising stuff going on right now. And just like I've been saying for years, I said, hey, it's just a matter of time before everybody's going to be hacked. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. We're all getting hacked because AI assisted hacking is accelerating hacking to a whole nother level. The kind of shit that because AI is really good with patterns. At the end of the day, AI is amazing with patterns. If you give it all the information where 1,000 people have seen things from various different angles, the AI can immediately take those 1,000 different people that have never talked to each other, never shared information between each other, and take their collective knowledge, put it together, and apply it. And that makes it really fucking powerful stuff like that, because now it can look at a piece of code that people have code reviewed thousands of times over the last 14 years and go, I just so happen to know if you do this at the same time you do this, right when this was happening, you'll get this result where you get full access. And it's like no human would ever find that level of depth just because of how many things have to happen in these really weird places. But AI just looks at it and it's like, nope, that makes perfect sense. And here I can cite every single person that contributed the little piece that gave me the understanding I needed to put it all together. So, you could say that AI isn't intelligent. But at the end of the day, it's perceived as intelligence, right? That's what makes it artificial. It's not real intelligence, artificial intelligence, but it's still intelligence. Like what it's doing is perceived as something that if somebody else did it, you would attribute it to their intelligence. I am a very verbose guy, except for when I'm not. Michael Armedia said, do either of you watch Infographics show? I do. I love that show. I began putting up a video clip of the narrator because his voice is so nice and crispy, perfect that people thought he was an AI. I never thought he was an AI. That dude predates AI. However, could you clone that guy's voice and put it over the top of videos with nobody noticing? Probably. Yep. Let's see here. The United States of Stockholm Syndrome compliance is experiencing some age-old Stormy Daniels weather patterns. Walked into that one. Let's see here. Tetris AI to help coordinate all the stacks as if each directory tree is a live tree for the robots of the AI to come to life. Topically professionalized. What am I missing up here? Oh, ethical grifting. He was talking about ethical grifting. Well, why don't you take that one, Ox, since this other guy thinks I'm talking too much. Here, why don't you kick off ethical grifting?
This is a story back from April. This like Indian medical student made a bunch of money, like paid off his medical or his like student loans and stuff by creating a right-leaning fake person named was Emily Hart. Like he started off trying to like sell like fake like AI generated like bikini pics and stuff, but it was like too saturated. But supposedly he was using Gemini like for the generation and also just like kind of build on this idea. And apparently it told him that like it would be better to try and target MAGA / conservative niche.
I wonder why.
Old conservative men represented, quote, older conservative men represented an underserved market with spending power.
I mean, it makes sense.
It worked. Yeah, it's crazy.
And the funny thing is, Gemini isn't even that good of a image generator.
Yeah,
like it's okay, but I wouldn't attribute it to like any of the like top stuff. Like honestly, I think Stable Diffusion modded out with Laura's can do a better job.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's funny. I think they shut him down in February or something for fraudulent activity, which I guess technically. But it doesn't matter. The dude made thousands for months and months. It was ridiculous.
This is great. I'll put a link if you haven't already, so they can go and look at the picture.
I did the Yahoo one. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you did. Okay. So the picture, I noticed that they just made it like a little grainy, like they upped the compression on the images, and it actually helps cover the defects from Gemini really well.
All right.
But I can tell looking at this image, like if you look at the phone, there's like a problem with the cameras on the back of the phone, like where it kind of gets cut off on an edge.
Weird.
Yep, yeah. and the fingers like, don't look right.
Interfacing gets all blurred out, like she's only got like 3. Like it's like
yeah. So it's like these are things though that like the average person wouldn't see. I mean, they specifically targeted that group for a reason, right?
Oh yeah.
You go after the people that are the most gullible, that don't really understand like how technology works or like what the latest technology is capable of. People that have more horniness than sense. And it wored. But the greatest part, the thing that makes me laugh about this is, this isn't the only time this happened. It's probably just the highest profile version.
It's everywhere. It's everywhere. Yeah. I mean,
how many dudes out there cranking it to fake pictures that were literally created by a dude?
Twitter is like full of it, dude. Like every time, like all I ever do is just open messages just to like get into this, right? And my whole feed it's either weird clips from movies that that are super vague posts, and then it's like people commenting like, oh, what show is this, what movie is this, or it's like fake porn bots.
Yeah, they're everywhere. They're absolutely everywhere. Oh my god, Pele, holy shit. Oh my God, Pele just threw down 75 bones, man.
Wow.
Pele just coming here blowing it up. He said, "Hey guys, is there anything you would like to buy that you don't really need?" Oh shit, tons of
A
stuff.
house.
Tons of but you need that.
I don't need a house.
People need a house.
Apartment's doing just fine. Apartment's fine.
People need a house though.
No, they need a place to live. They don't need a house.
Do you know why people need? I'm gonna tell you. I'll give you a reason why people need a house. Because your apartment that you pay for, you don't get any of that money back ever. When you buy a house, you get paid to live for free somewhere. That's why I think it's a necessity and everybody needs a house because there's only a finite amount of space and there's more and more humans being created all the time. Like populations just keep going up. So so that means eventually we're going to hit a point where there's just more people in houses. Yeah. And so houses, because of supply and demand, they're always going to go up in value. There might be lulls when the economy crashes and the houses get drugged down with them. But as a whole, they will always come back up and be worth more than what you paid for them. Mm-hmm. So it's like, unless you're incredibly lucky and you're forced to sell your house, when one of these market crashes happens for that very small little window, it's always a payday back. And even in those crashes, you're still getting a huge amount of your money back. Yeah. Whereas when you live in somebody else's house, you're just paying for them. You're paying for their house for them. For the purpose of being able to stay there. I'm not saying everybody has to rent. Like I rented for a long time too. Everybody has to rent. But the one advice I'd like to give to people is when you have the opportunity to buy a house, if you have that opportunity in front of you and the deal makes sense, don't be just like, paying whatever. Like definitely look at it, know that it's a good house, a good area, blah, blah, blah. Get yourself a house the second you can because it's a huge investment up front. You're going to be like, oh God, I got to pay that. It might even feel like it's more than rent, what you're paying. But usually it's not because usually rent costs more than the mortgage because most people are like getting you to pay their mortgage plus a profit when they have to move in. So, but you get that house and you live in it. And it's like, that's like locking your money up that you get it back later. You're just basically setting your money aside. It's almost like a deposit at very worst case scenario. And best case scenario is a deposit where when you take your deposit back, you win the lottery and they hand you a bunch more money with it. But it's not like you're making a ton of money either because remember, it's basically going to move with inflation. So your house might be worth 6 times as much when you eventually sell it down the road, but everything might cost 6 times as much by that time. So realistically, if you have to go out and buy another house or you have to go out and live somewhere else, you're just you're more like trading. You're not really getting anything more back. Like if I sell my house today for what it's worth today, I still have to go spend just as much money to get the same house somewhere else. You know what I mean? It's kind of a wash. But when you rent, you're just burning that money. And it's like, but the convenience of renting is nice because you might not have the credit and you might not have the means to buy a house in the beginning. But so the rental process definitely gets you there. Like I rented a lot. I actually when I rented all the way from when I was 16, I rented my first place to when did we finally buy this one? I think my wife and I bought this house in 2001. Yeah. So that would have been... So I rented for like, a good 4 or 5 years before I finally bought a place. Yeah. And now I've lived in this place for 23 years. It's well lived in, well settled down. The carpet's long past need to be replaced. I mean, it looks kind of run down, honestly. But even in its current condition, it's still worth 3 times what I paid for it. So it's a really, really good investment to get a house. So I'm just saying, guys, if you have a chance to get a house. Now, the downside to having a house, you don't have the freedom to move, right? It's harder to sell your house and go through all the paperwork. Getting a house is dude, it's the worst paperwork experience of your entire life. It's right up there with doing your taxes. But if you want to get out of your house, you have to sell it, and then you got to go buy another house and move into it, do all that paperwork and all that. It's a huge hassle. Whereas when you're renting or leasing, if you got to get up and get out, you can. You're not stuck on that piece of property that you have to go through and sell and go through the whole process and everything like that. So there are pluses and minuses to both for sure. But I just want people to know, because I didn't know this back in the day, that houses are just a good place to store your money. And it's not even the structure. That's the other thing I learned. It's not the structure. Like my structure is worth 1/9 of the value of my property. Oh, yeah. And I live on like 1/8 of an acre. Yeah, it's literally the land. So even if the house just degrades, even if you live there and the house degrades and it falls apart and it eventually just turns into something that's not even livable, just the value of the property after that time is still going to be worth more than what you paid for the property and the house, ideally. But you got to live long enough for that to happen. But it will go up unless you're, I don't know. I guess the only time that's not true is, let's say you moved to Detroit during the boom. And you're
Right.
like, I'm gonna buy a house in Detroit, and then it just turns into like, you know, gang central, and all the businesses go out of business and there's no jobs. Then I could see, oh shit, that was a bad decision, and now you're pretty much stuck there, right? But you still have the house, but you're just stuck there because nobody's gonna buy it and give you anything for it. But I heard Detroit was so bad at one point that you could go there and buy any property, across these blocks for $1. It was $1. You could buy. You still, as far as I know, you can still do it today. $1 buys you a lot with a house on it and everything. And you're like, that's a great deal. Why the hell aren't people buying these things? Because the state, if you buy it for $1, you commit to fixing it up, and you commit to, because they're trying to get the neighborhoods to stop having all these dilapidated buildings. So they're like, listen, we'll sell it to you for $1, but you have to fix it up to code before you can list it and sell it. Otherwise, it's yours forever, and you have to pay the property taxes on it. Well, and so, and I only know this because a buddy of mine got roped into this whole scam. I shouldn't call it a scam, because if your intentions are good and you go through the process, you can make a lot of money doing it. But it requires a lot of upfront capital. So he thought it'd be fun just to buy a house there for $1. So he bought a house there for $1, and he flew down there, and then he found out that he didn't read the fine print, and the fine print says that he's committed to improving the property up to, say, it has to meet code before it can be sold again. And these are like dilapidated houses, right? Drywall's ripped out, pipes ripped out, crackheads living in them. So he has to restore it back to some kind of code. And the fine print says that if he doesn't do that every year, they can fine him. Jeez. So he buys the house for $1, and now I think it's like every year he has to pay like a $1,500 or $2,000 fine for not repairing the house. So until he can get rid of it, nobody will buy it off him even for free, like, because everybody else knows better. So, but yeah, I guess some people were like, oh, $1, I'm going to buy this. And they go through the paperwork, and nobody tells them the bad part out loud. So yeah, if you don't commit, you're screwed. I don't know the exact rules of it, but there's a reason why there's so many of these properties on sale for $1 that the state will just hand you. And it's contingent on you investing the money and then hoping it pays off. And then the problem is, if you buy a property and you invest and you improve the house and you put the money into it, how the hell are you going to get the money out when the rest of the neighborhood is all run down and nobody wants to live there?
Yeah.
You know, if you put in $60,000 to renovate a house, that's a cheap renovation. Like $60,000, like get some paint and slop it around. Seriously. Even if you bring it up to the lowest code possible and you put it on the market, you're never going to get that money back out of it. And that's exactly why they're $1. So, yeah. So if you're a billionaire and you just want to go buy like 3 city blocks just to brag to your friends about owning like 3 city blocks, Detroit is where to do it. Now, again, this was many, many years ago. I want to say he did this. This would have been back before COVID. So this is like 2017. So I don't know where we're at now. I've heard rumors that Detroit has kind of rebound a little bit. So I don't know how much of that's true or not. But if it did, and you bought that property for $1, who knows? Maybe you made out like a bandit. Because that's the other flip side, is if you buy it for $1 and you pay that couple of $1,000 fine every year, which is basically like property taxes most places. Let's say you hold on to it for 10 years, and then some corporation buys up a shitload of it, redevelops it, or the factories come back online and start building cars again. Let's say that happened. You know how fast your little shit money hole thing just turned into like millions and millions of dollars? Right. Because somebody's going to come along and be like, holy shit, everything's booming. People need houses. And some developer's going to come along and say, oh, this douche nozzle that paid $20 and got 20 houses, camping on it. We need those properties. And then as soon as they need those properties, you can pull the monopoly shit on them and be like, oh yeah, I'll sell them to you, but it's going to cost you $100,000 or $1 million of property. And then you retire. So Detroit is great now, but I'm not talking about like Detroit, like the main city portion. I'm talking about like the suburbs of Detroit, though. Like, are they doing good too, Nathan? Because I mean, the house that my buddy bought, he FaceTimed me when he was walking through it, and I was like, bro, I was like, are you safe standing on the floors? It was bad. It was really, really bad. He even had a party there too. I didn't go because I would have had to get an airplane ticket and fly over there at the time, and I wasn't feeling great. But he ended up having a party with a bunch of his buddies and stuff. All went to Detroit, and they had a bonfire in the backyard, like next to the street. He said the cops don't ever mess with you or even come around. They were having all kinds of fun lighting off fireworks and shit. Like nobody did anything. He said it was actually a lot of fun, but he is pissed that he's stuck with the house. And last time I talked to him, he still had it. So I don't think he's ever going to sell it. He's probably committed for life to camp on it. And the thing that sucks is like, you'd think, oh, just stop paying on it, right? Just stop paying on it, let the bank reclaim it. Just like it originally happened. Well, you can't do that, because if you let the bank reclaim it, then the credit hit is massive. even though you only paid $1 for the house, because it's a property and it's valued by the state, like the property has its own value that the state puts on it by the appraiser.
Right.
If you lose that property and you default on it, that kills your taxes. Like, good luck trying to buy another house in the future. So he's pretty much just stuck with it. Let's see here. Lewis Electric said, no, I tried again several hours apart. The first time it shoved the retries up 10 times and then blocked my IP. Oh, shit. What's going on, Lewis? I made it into GitHub. Oh, he's having trouble with GitHub. Yeah, I mean...
because he's a robot.
He's a robot?
Yeah, he was having trouble with the captchas.
Oh, but that's the funny thing is, like, the robots can handle the captchas now. Dude, the captchas are getting so sophisticated now that I can't even fucking do it. Like I've run across captchas now where I've tried like 5 times and I just give up. Because I am 100% sure that I did it properly all 5 times. And it still doesn't let me in. See what to say. SNX Gur said, did you see the stuff Trump put into law about never being able to prosecute him or his family? Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah,
that doesn't surprise me at all. He's like, you have to pay me $1.8 billion and you can't ever investigate me or my family ever again for anything, for any reason, and we're free to do whatever criminal activities we want.
Yeah, that's dumb.
Yeah, that tracks. That tracks for sure. Well, the sad thing is the people who get to make the final decision, if it gets appealed enough times, is the Supreme Court, and we all know what they're going to do.
Yeah.
So
okay, then
have your
1.8
million.
Let that slide, though.
I hope they don't. I hope.
Yeah.
I hope that they've realized by now that they have made a horrendous fucking mistake.
It just opens up a can of worms for everything.
It does. Man, that pissed me off so bad when I saw that, though. It's like, oh yeah, we're gonna reimburse the Capitol January 6th rioters. You're like, what? Mm-hmm. Even the ones that like attacked cops and actually pled guilty and went to jail? Even the one that like fucking got caught for CP or CSAM material? That guy too? And they wouldn't rule him out. I could not believe that when the interviewer even asked Trump's attorney guy, Todd Blanche or whatever, he's like, so you're saying that even the guy that got caught with the CP who actually went into the Capitol and actually caused physical damage and went to jail, you're saying even that guy's eligible for return? You're not even going to stand here before the American people and say that guy is going to be excluded from this money. And he's like, oh, I'm not excluding anybody from this money. And he wouldn't say it. He could not fucking say it. He's like, everybody that stormed the Capitol gets it. It's like, but do I really think he's going to give him any of the money? I doubt it. I really doubt it. He's just using that as a pretext to get it. And then once he gets it, he'll just keep it himself. He's not exactly the giving type. You don't want Detroit looking like the Kiss Destroyer album cover. I haven't seen that, but I'm guessing that's bad. Gamers Unite said, I've seen CAPTCHAs that have a timer, and only when the timer turns green after a random amount of time can the CAPTCHA check marks be clicked. Yep, I've run into that one too. And you know what? I always read it wrong. I don't know if it's dyslexia or what, but I always read it wrong and start solving it, and then it says I failed even though I thought I passed. I still like the OG CAPTCHA, where it's like, if you're not a robot type 1, you know, it's like if you're not a robot type 4, it just picks a random number. But now you can't use those because AI looks at that and it's like, oh, you just tell the AI, prompt it. Okay, if you were not a robot, what would you answer to this question? And then paste the text in there. And then it does it. Yeah, I think did I tell you guys that I created a CAPTCHA defeater for Mega?
Easy.
The file sharing site. So their CAPTCHAs are those ones where it's like a colorful collage. And then the letters are all oriented at different sizes and stuff with like random lines that with different colors going through them to obfuscate them. Mm-hmm. They're even really hard. Even like looking at them, I fail sometimes. Like it's hard to tell an I from a 1 and an O from a 0. And
the letter ones, yeah, those
are total pain in the ass. So I created a Python script that defeats them. And so what it does is it does the initial connection to Mega through the browser using Selenium. If it sees the CAPTCHA, it takes a screenshot of it. And then it literally just takes the screenshot of the CAPTCHA and sends it directly over to LM Studio running a vision-enabled AI that I downloaded, a really good one. And then it takes about 3 to 5 seconds. It looks at the CAPTCHA and then it comes back with the solve and gives you just the letters. It responds with only the letters and the numbers. And then you literally copy that. The Python pulls that response back from LM Studio, pastes it into the box under the CAPTCHA on the site and hits enter. And it usually gets it right within 1 to 2 tries. So the reason I did that was because I didn't want to pay for Mega at the time, and there was like a huge amount of data I needed to download from it. And so you could only each download could only go like 10 kilobytes a second or something like that. and you could only have one download per IP going at a time. So what I did is I created this Python script, and the CAPTCHA defeat was part of it. Like, it's a whole modularized thing that was created by, I shouldn't say I created, AI created it. It was written by, I believe this one I created with, this was before I had access to codecs. This would have been, this would have been just straight up copy and paste out of Grok. As a matter of fact, this would have been copy and paste out of Grok. So I ended up getting it to write the code. Here's how it works. It scans, first of all, it has a mode that scans for proxies. So you put it in proxy scan mode, make sure you got a VPN running, because if you don't, you're going to get a call. It scans every single IPv4 address in the world over the course of about 2.5 hours. And it scans every single port that's a common port or an uncommon port for SOCKS 4 and SOCKS 5 proxies. So if you don't know what a proxy server is like a server you can put into your browser where when you go to a website or something like that, it doesn't actually go directly to the website. It goes through the proxy, and then the proxy gets the information from the website and forwards it on to you. So it's not quite a VPN. It works a little differently than a VPN, but the proxy is basically just an intermediate way to get to your target. So I scan the internet. There's a lot of people that install proxy servers around the world that don't ever secure them. They don't take time to put in a password or anything. They just fire up their proxy server, start using it, not realizing that the rest of the world can also just jump on there and use it. So I wrote a scanner that scanned the entire internet, found every proxy server that was open. And the way it figured out if it was open was, 1, does it connect? And 2, can it connect to 3 websites? Google, Microsoft, and I think it was like Bing, Google, and Microsoft. I had 3 sites that are always online. And if it could reach those through the proxy, that would tell me reasonably that it's not a proxy on an internal LAN or a proxy that's firewalled. And so then it creates a list. And then it refines the list down to the ones that can actually reach the site that I care about. Now I have this list of proxies that are open that, and they're usually not fast, but who cares? Mega's really slow too. So what it does is then it spawns 20 threads side by side. Each thread goes and tries to download the same file from Mega, but they send a resume request. So when you download a file off the web, you don't just say, hey, send me the file. You say, send me the file starting at this byte. That way, if you get disrupted or the download fails, you can resume it. And so what I do is I create 20 of these things and say, go download the same file. Each one is using a different proxy server, all within the same program from my same computer. Each one of these threads grabs a proxy, goes out, connects, says, download the file starting at this point to this point. I just need this bit. And then all those bits together is one complete file. And then they all solve their CAPTCHAs individually. They all download their chunk individually. And then once all the chunks are finished downloading, and if one fails, another one subs in for it and finishes the download. But once every chunk is completed 100%, it then uses a program that pieces them together. It puts them all in the right order and pieces them together into one file and names it back to the proper file name. And it works amazing. It works absolutely amazing. Sometimes it'll take a good 3 to 5 minutes before every single thread is downloading successfully because, multiple CAPTCHA retries, and some of the proxies are really slow, and some of the proxies will die and you have to reset them in the middle and try again. But it's still way faster than downloading a 10 gigabyte file, which you can't even do. I think Mega limits you to 1 gigabyte file limit or something like that without a premium account. So it was like a 10 gigabyte file or something like that. But even with all that, I could download a 10 gigabyte file in 15, 20 minutes versus the, 30 hours it would have taken with the free account, if you even could download it. So yeah, crazy stuff. And that was all done with AI. AI wrote that entire thing from soup to nuts. Remember email proxy sites? I do remember those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's still a thing.
The thing that's scary about proxies though is I wish there was a way, even though proxies are useful, I wish there was a way for me to alert the person that they have an open proxy. That would be nice, because it's I have no problem using a proxy if it's put online in public for a reason, because there are certain people that put up public proxies that they want people to use them, because the benefit of letting somebody use your proxy is you can intercept all their traffic. So don't use proxies for anything secure. Unless it's your proxy server that you own is under your control. The second you go through a proxy server, you're giving them access to a lot of data they should not have access to. For man-in-the-middle attacks and all kinds of stuff. But downloading a file from Mega isn't something that I consider a high security thing if I'm solving CAPTCHAs and shit to defeat a $9 a month sub or whatever it was at the time. Right. This was a long ass time ago. I haven't even run it in a long time. I wonder if there's been any changes that would defend against it, but I highly doubt it. And then the best part is a ton of other file sharing sites use the exact same CAPTCHA as Mega. So if I ever need to download from one of the other file sharing sites or whatever, it's just a matter of changing a couple lines of code and it would work with them. But now things have kind of evolved a little bit. it used to be that, okay, you know, you needed a CLI for this site and a CLI for this site. You need a program that's, you know, tailored specifically for this. And when it changes, you need to change with it. Right. I'm starting to feel like AI is changing what software is. As it needs to get faster. Don't get me wrong. It needs to get faster, cheaper, and more efficient. But the idea now is the program that I had AI write for me to go do that thing with Mega, with Hermes, in a single local AI, I don't even need a program to do any of that. I could just have Hermes do it directly. Because I don't even need the software at that point. I can just say, hey, Hermes, I need to download this file from this website, and I need you to use a whole bunch of proxies to do it, and just basically tell it, like, hey, go find a bunch of proxies, figure it out, and as long as I have an uncensored model that's not going to refuse me based on ethical restrictions or whatever, it'll figure it out. Like, it'll go write the little mini scripts, it'll go and just go to the website and surf the website itself and physically take screenshots and look at them under vision and figure out what it needs to click on to get the thing. Like, it'll just do it. And so now we've kind of evolved from this like hard set software where it's like you compile the software and now the software is what it is. Right. To now we have these agentic agents that just simulate a human doing stuff on a computer, and you task it with something, and instead of having to write software or download software to do it, it just does it. It just does it like a human would do it. It goes to the site, it figures it out. It's like, oh, this is too slow. How can I figure this out? Oh, I could break this up into chunks. Oh, I could create multiple instances. It just does it. And so all the clever things that a developer normally would have to think about to write the program to do the thing, AI can just do that in real time. Like now you don't need this program to distribute amongst people. Every single person just basically says, this is what I want. Like, I need you to download this file. I'm curious. I should try this with Hermes. I should say, Hermes, I need to download this file from this website as fast as humanly possible. It limits me to this, only one connection per IP address. But in at this speed, I need you to overcome this restriction by any means necessary. Do not ask me anything. You have full run. You can do whatever you want. You can install whatever you want. You can configure whatever you want. Just leave me the fuck alone until you've achieved my goal, and then just cut it loose and see what it does. Because the other day when I did something similar to have it go and figure out how to operate a website and create a CLI to completely run a website without any web interface whatsoever, it was able to figure it out. And it started out that journey just like a user would. It went to the physical website. It navigated the website. It looked at the website using vision to explain it in text, like to actually explain what it was seeing on the screen, like a blind person being explained, oh, this website has this over here and this button over here. What do you want to do? And it step by step did that and then correlated what it saw to the HTML behind and then figured out like what specific things correlated. And then in the end, it figured out how to automate it without needing to even see the website anymore. It's just clever as shit, man. Just wild.
Yep. It's getting good.
Fucking nuts, dude. Let's see here. Hey, Barnacules, Anthropic is hiring coders to play around with their models and find security flaws. $15,000 a month for 4 months. I tried talking in chat on my main account, but it looks like you blocked me. For saying I'm tired of Trump talk. I mean, that's not surprising. And now you got your new account here. Enjoy. Like, you don't get to tell me you're tired of Trump talk. If you want to leave, you leave. But if you're going to be a dick, you're a dick, and you're going to get banned for it. That's how it works. Like that. I'm not here to tolerate that shit. This is not a fucking democracy here at Tech Talk, okay?
Yeah, right?
Hey, you don't get to come in here and tell me what I get to say, when I get to say it, and how I live. No, this is my fucking broadcast. I say what I want to say when I want to say it, and if you don't like it, you just fucking leave. It's that simple. It's that simple. I will never fucking understand the concept of people saying, oh, I don't like what you're saying, say something different. No, if you don't like what I'm saying, go watch somebody else. If you want to watch Trump getting sucked off, there's plenty of other channels you can go watch. This isn't one of them. This is somebody who can't stand the fucker and is literally having first-party consequences every single day from what that fucker does. So Donald Trump can go fuck himself, and anybody that tries to say I can't talk about Trump can go fuck themselves too, because I absolutely will talk about the motherfucker until he's gone, and he's no longer a threat to me and my son and my fucking wife, okay? It's that simple.
There you go.
So here's the thing, John, if you truly want to help me, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. If you truly want to help me, the best way to do that is to let me talk about what I need to talk about when I want to talk about it.
That's it.
Because here's the thing. The second this all happened like a long time ago when I said, hey, I was going to stop talking about politics a whole bunch for a little while because I needed a mental break. And then when I started talking about it again, everybody comes back, but you said you weren't going to talk about it anymore. No, I took a fucking break for a little while because it was driving me fucking nuts so I could catch my breath. But no, new shit has happened that has forced me to speak up again. And new shit continues to happen, so I will continue to speak up about it. I am not going to let anybody tell me that I can't do that. And no, you're not fucking helping me. That's like people saying, oh, I'm helping you by telling you you're fat. No, you're not. I know I'm fat.
Right.
Every single time I go to take a piss, every single time I go to fuck my wife, I know I'm fat. Yeah. Trust me, when I look down and I don't see my toes or my dick, yeah, I know I'm fat, okay? You're not helping me by telling me I'm fat. It's like, I will never fucking understand that mentality from people, Ox. I never will get that. It's like, but I'm just trying to help him by telling him not to talk about the thing that's important to him. No, you're trying to help your fucking self because you don't like what I'm saying about that particular topic. That's what it really comes down to at the end of the day.
Yep.
Because here's the thing. There's other people you're watching, I guarantee, that aren't saying anything, or they do say something about Trump. You're not hassling them. If they're saying something nice about him, why aren't you fucking harping on them? I have yet to find a single person that has told me that I need to stop talking about Trump where I didn't go look at their shit and they were telling everybody that was saying good things about Trump that they need to stop also. When I find that person one day, I might actually have a tiny bit of sympathy for him at that moment. Be like, hey, at least you're treating us all equal. But no, every fucking time I've ever looked at it, it's like, no, you're saying a bunch of bad shit I don't like because I like Trump. And you're saying, so I'm going to try to save you by saying it's good for you not to talk about it. And then you go find out they're watching and following all these other people that are sucking his dick. Yeah. I'm not saying that's the case here, but I'm just saying I've yet to see a single person that has criticized me for criticizing Trump, that they themselves weren't being tolerant of people that were saying nice things about him. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, no, if you're gonna say that you're out for me and you're worried about me and you want to help me, then you need to be doing what you can fucking do to make sure that fucker don't stay in the White House very much longer. That's what I'm gonna say. It's like, I'm done with that shit. Sorry, I had to say my part there. Gotta get out. I'm just, no, if you're gonna get banned for shit like that. I may even officially add that to like the rules list, because I am tired of people trying to say, oh, I'm helping you, it's for your own good. No, you're not helping me. You're not helping me at all. The best way to help me is if you can't stand what I'm saying and you don't like what I'm saying, just fucking leave. God damn. All you do by like trying to change me and change what I say and change what I do, that's all to benefit yourself. It ain't to benefit me. I guarantee you that. I wish we could stop talking about Trump, but I fear that time won't come soon enough. I know, right? I'll still be talking about him after that. Yeah. We can stop talking about Trump when he's either dead or life in prison. I mean, shit, dude. I really want to see him in prison. That's my. If he goes to jail, I will literally deem that jail day a holiday, a national holiday, and every year I will have a big steak. I'll sit in my backyard. I'll set off fireworks. Like, that's literally going to be my Independence Day. Because that fucker's caused so much damage. Not another single person in politics has caused more damage than that motherfucker in my entire life. And him and his minions, man. It's, you know, right? It takes a village. It's not just him either. It's his minions too. But it's like, if you choose to be his minion, you choose to sell out everybody else, your own family, their futures, and everybody else just for yourself to get a little nut. Fuck you, man. You're not worth my time. The internet has many things to watch, just like TV. Go find another. You know what? I've given this analogy I've given this analogy a million times before. But when was the last time you've been laying in bed watching like CNN and they said something you didn't like and you immediately pick up the phone and like call into their fucking network broadcasting and tell them they need to be off the air and they need to shut their fucking mouths and stop talking what they say? It's like it's pointless. It's fucking pointless. I mean, at least now you get a response. You wouldn't get a response in that situation. But it's like, seriously, don't fucking, treat me any different. It's like, if you don't like what you see, walk away from it. And then it's all these people that all say, oh, I'm about free speech and I'm about freedom and I'm America and everything. But and every fucking thing they do is being a snowflake and trying to shut other people down and trying to prevent them from being able to say shit. It drives me fucking nuts. Like, oh, I'm about America. I saw a great thing the other day where this guy, The Good Liars on YouTube, fantastic channel. They walk up to these two ladies at a Trump convention or whatever, and they're like, hey, we're here selling Bibles or whatever. She's like, okay, this is kind of interesting. I'm selling Bibles. He's like, we went ahead and put a song, this famous 80s song here. We added into our Bibles and we're selling it right now for $60. And the lady's like, you're a scammer. And he goes, what? And she's like, you're trying to grip. So you're saying you're putting a song in the Bible and you don't alter the Bible. And she's like, oh, I didn't know. I'm sorry. And $60, that's a ripoff. And he's like, well, I thought it was okay for me to do it because Trump released the Lee Greenwood Bible where he put his lyrics in the Bible and he sells it for $60. And you know what they said in that moment? Fuck off. He can do it. You can't. And they walked off. Yeah. I was like, that's what you get from fucking Trump supporters. It's like they literally will sit there and fucking harp on you for doing something their fucking master in chief is doing every fucking second of every day because they can't piece it together. And then when you call them on it, they're like, oh, that's somehow different. That's somehow different when he does. He's allowed to do it. He's allowed to be a scammer. You're not. But I love it when they do that. When the good liars are fantastic at doing that, where they basically create a situation that is absolutely perfectly flawlessly matched to the other party, and then they present it, and then they get a real truthful and honest response from him, and then they flip the cards and go, oh, nope, this is actually the other person, and here's the evidence. And then they just, oh, fuck you, you don't know what you're talking about. Oh, you're fake news. And then they just walk away. I love it. It's fucking fantastic.
Whatever. Don't need to talk about it anymore.
Oh, John Doe said, I wasn't saying I was helping you by saying not talking about Trump. No, that's what you said. You were banned for talking about Trump. That's why I'm talking about this. I'm talking about the part where you said you were banned for saying that I couldn't talk about Trump. That's what I'm responding to, not the Anthropic job.
Could have just let that out.
Yeah.
Like,
seriously,
why was that even
exactly
to bring that up at all?
Exactly. There was absolutely no point
about it.
Mm-hmm.
And
exactly. If you had to just mention the Anthropic job, that would have been perfect. You're like, oh, I had to mention it on my secondary account because you banned me for saying not talking about Trump. No, that's because you had a problem with me banning you about talking about Trump. Or saying I can't talk about Trump. But anyways, notice I haven't banned this account. I could if I want to, but I haven't banned this account. So let's try to keep it that way.
Yeah.
He said, I was just trying to help you, letting you know about the Anthropic job. No, that's cool. Hopefully somebody in here can take advantage of that Anthropic job. Definitely not for me. The Mo partner said, preach, bro. I voted for that orange pumpkin. I can't stand his stupid butthole self. Dude, so many people regret voting for that motherfucker. That's that. But it's like, it's too late now. That's the problem is I fucking hate it when people are too fucking lazy or too fucking greedy to do the right thing in the moment. They have to wait until like every single other person is affected to the nth degree. And then finally they start getting affected just a little bit. And then they're like, oh God, I've made a mistake. I admit it. I made a mistake. It's like, God, too little, too late. I'm glad that people turned around. Don't get me wrong. I'm like glad that people that voted for him are finally figuring out who the fuck he is. But the truth is they deep down could see the whole time what he was. They just refused to because the fucking hive mind mentality around him didn't allow him to. They couldn't stand up to the people around them. They couldn't stand their families knowing that they weren't a Trump supporter. They couldn't stand, answering a question that you might have that you wouldn't ask because you were afraid to ask when you knew the answer to it wouldn't be good. Anyways, I need to get that out. That's one of those things. It was bottled up a little. I had to get that out of there, kind of pry that out of my craw. Because the truth is, I did go a long time where I chilled out a lot on the political shit. But in that time that I chilled out, I fucking instantly regretted it because Trump did a bunch more shit that was way fucking worse. Like the elevation path on that guy is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. Like
we're literally living in a world now he's talking about Ghislaine Maxwell fucking getting a pardon and she's like getting fucking Uber Eats like delivered to her fucking cell like 24/7. It's not even something that facility offers, but she gets it. It's like, oh man, it's like, how can you call yourself a fucking I'm going to just call it what it is. If you sit there and try to call yourself a Christian and try to act like you've even read the fucking Bible while you're supporting a guy who's going out of his way to defend every fucking pedophile on earth, including himself, like literally by evidence, like literally the fucking like king molester that's still alive. It's like sitting in a country club right now instead of a max security price and eating fucking Burger King or whatever the fuck she wants delivered every day with free run of the whole facility when she's not even allowed to be there by law because Trump put her there to protect her so she wouldn't talk about him. If you're literally trying to still make excuses for that motherfucker, you are not a Christian. You might think you're a Christian or call yourself, you're not a Christian. Then they can call you. I could say that I'm a fucking white rhino. It doesn't make me one. It's like, no, you are what your actions are. You are what you do. Say what you'll say, but at the end of the day, you are what you do. And you're a fucking hypocrite is what you are. Yeah, and it's like, I wish people would fucking take 10 seconds to think about the collective whole of humanity before they go, oh my God, if I vote for this guy because he says he loves the Jeebeses. It's like, did you even look into his past? Did you even look at the shit he's done? Did you ever look to see if like what he's saying even remotely aligns with his actions? No, you didn't. Doesn't matter. You didn't. Doesn't matter to you. You're like, oh, he said the Jesus word, therefore he's in the club. It's like the secret fucking handshake. It's like, oh, he did the secret handshake, so we all gotta believe him. He's our God and Lord and Savior. Mm-hmm. And then at the end of the day, when they figure out he's not, and they see him for exactly what he is that everybody else already saw him as, then they're like, oh, oops, we made a boo-boo. Oops. It's like, no, you literally allowed yourself to be manipulated because you thought it benefited you. You didn't give a shit what it did to anybody else at the time. You were just like, he's saying he's going to help me, even though nothing he's ever done has proved that he will.
Yep.
And then when he doesn't, you defend it because you have buyer's remorse. And then in the end, when all else fails and the buyer's remorse is worn off and you're done and you're just as sick and tired as everybody else because now it's affected you and everything everybody said is true, and you're caught in a corner, you're like, oh, I wished I had never voted for him. Oh, good for fucking you for coming to that conclusion after all this time.
Whatever.
You know, it's like, God damn it. It's like, oh, it just drives me nuts because I see the shit that this guy's doing. I see how it affects my son's future being on the spectrum and everybody else who has kids on the spectrum and everybody else who's on the spectrum. You know, it's like, God damn, what is happening with this fucking world, you know? Trying to cut off like fucking free trade from other countries and trying to fucking start more wars. Not trying, actually starting wars. You know how pissed I get every time that fucker gets on? He goes, I don't call it a war, I call it a conflict. It's a war. He calls it a war and then he goes, yeah, in this war, but I don't call it a war. I call it a conflict because then I don't have to ask Congress. He literally admits to committing treason every single fucking day, and we can't do nothing because the Supreme Court's like, you know what? Out of all the presidents we've ever had, this seems like the one we should give ultimate immunity to, so he has absolutely nothing to worry about no matter what he does. Yep. This seems like the guy we should give that to. Absolutely. Every other president, the ones that are good, that have proven themselves, the people that have actually really put themselves out there and they served in our military and they served as public representatives. No, let's take the fucking billionaire that lived his life just literally committing fraud after fraud after fraud, cheating on his taxes, dodging the draft. Let's take this motherfucker who's been an atheist his entire life and is pretending to be Christian now. Let's take this guy with a fucking rap sheet 10 miles long and let's give him absolute fucking immunity and make him the most powerful person on earth. That sounds an awful lot like what happened in 1933 Germany. If you go back and do your research on how Hitler went from just being the opposite of the chancellor to basically being like the fucking world conquest guy. It's like, I just wish people would fucking just take 5 goddamn minutes to think before they just do what they're, oh, I'm worried my coworkers or my family, what they'll think of me if I don't vote this way or I do this way. It's like, keep in mind, if you vote for Trump, you are not voting for improvement. You're not voting for progress. You're not voting for humanity. You are voting because you got duped. You got told that you were going to be given something. You got told that everybody else is going to get fucked so you could get a little more, and you just rode that gravy train all the way without even thinking for a second if it could even remotely be possible or how it could happen. It's pure greed. At the end of the day, that's what it is. Fucking, I'm a Christian and I'm greedy. Yep. Anyway,
I'm gonna get going though, dude.
Yeah, no worries, dude. You go ahead. It's 2:00. Thanks for hanging out for my rant. I appreciate it.
Don't rant on rave for too long.
No, I still need sleep. I didn't sleep at all yesterday and the night before, so I was too sick. So I'll probably go take myself a little naparoonie here in a bit.
Yeah, there you go.
I just have to get my cranky old man shit out for the week. That's good. I love you, Ox. Go have a good day, brother.
Man. Bye, everybody.
Peace. That actually felt really good. I need to get that out. That's been sitting in my craw for a little while. I need to just let that shit fly. Oh, I already feel like some of the demons have left my body. It's a wonderful thing. Oh my God. It's just the selfishness of it all. These fuckers that still defend him. They know that they've lost all their ground. They know that every single thing they've said, every single thing they promised he'd do, everything they said they supported, it's all sailed. And now all they can do is pull a JD Vance where they just change their mind to align with whatever Trump's, contradiction of the day is. And somehow they still convince themselves, oh, I'm Christian because I believe, Chimo Trump. It's like, goddamn, dude. Oh my God. Kylek said, Barn, you got to remember Mega's reading and comprehension levels. I think they need a lot more than 5 minutes. Oh, the thing is, I'd like to believe that the vast majority of MAGA supporters and Trump supporters are just good-hearted people that got lied to and misled. But when you look at what they believe, when you ask them what they believe and you ask them why they like Trump, it's not because of the things that he lied about that would be generally good for humanity. It's always about the things that make them above their fellow man, make them more prosperous than everybody else, make them better. Like they're specialer than everybody else. That's the shit they latch onto while they try to call themselves a Christian. I mean, they're literally claiming that they worship a fucking carpenter that lived a meager lifestyle and was literally killed for their sins. But at the same time, they somehow think that, the guy that represents God is the guy that's going to give us $50,000 a year at the expense of fucking deporting and killing a bunch of women and children. It's like, okay, cool. Yeah, you're definitely a Christian. Totally you completely got me on board there. No, that's, you know what? You know what a real fucking Christian is? A real Christian is somebody who can pick up the Bible and read, because I was a Christian for 20 years. A real Christian is somebody who can pick up the fucking Bible and read it cover to cover before acting like they're a Christian. And they know how to separate out the contradictions from the true life messages. Because there's a lot of common sense in that book. There is a lot of common sense in that book, but it's also drowned within a lot of corruption from a lot of people that never had any business writing anything that made it into it. So if you just throw out the garbage and you keep the good stuff, you get rid of the contradictions and the hate, and you just keep the love and the love and community. There you go. Welcome to Christianity. But if you're adopting the evil and interpreting to put yourself on a higher plane than your fellow man because it benefits you over them, and you think you're fucking what is it what's that called when you think you're the only person that's alive in the world and everybody else is an NPC? It's like player syndrome or something. Fuck, I can't remember the name of it. You know, it's like you're not a Christian. You're just the selfish prick is what you are. You only care about yourself and nobody else. And the only reason you don't, and the truth is, like, these people, they don't even care about Trump. They want to be him. They want to emulate him. They want to be him. That's like their ultimate prize. They're like, I want to be the person who's hurting people and making myself super rich. I'm the person. I want to be the person that can break the law and have no consequences. They idolize him, which, if you've ever read the Bible, idolizing is not a good thing. You're supposed to reject false idols. Trump literally presents himself as an idol. He literally sells you idols. Like, the guy does that's why I know he's never read the Bible, but not just because he can't recite anything from it, but because he's literally embodies the exact thing that the Bible tells you are absolute 100% signs that this person is a false prophet. And yet they just ignore all that shit and they embrace it like, oh, and that's where you get like the evangelical churches, right? That's where you get these big televangelist churches and shit that come along, where these people that God's going to come to second coming to reckon, and he's going to strike down the wicked and blah, blah. It's like, what are you fucking talking about? You're the wicked. You're the one that's locking the doors and shaming people into putting money into your basket when you drove there in a Rolls Royce or landed in a fucking helicopter when those people are struggling just to survive. You're the one that's claiming that by putting a seed in a basket, these people are going to be cured and they're going to be healthy when you're fortunate enough to be able to afford the best health care on earth because they put their money in that basket for you. It's like you are a fraud, and the people that you are leading them to fraud. And those people, sure, I'll admit, a lot of those people, they've hit the point where they're so desperate that they're lost and they'll do anything. And those are the only ones that I will feel sorry for, are the ones that are truly at their last end and they have nothing else to hang on to. And they will believe anything from anybody who's within a 10-foot proximity just because they've got nothing else left. But the sad thing is that isn't the majority. The majority are people that have some amount of wealth who just want more, who want to take away from others to give themselves more, who want to make themselves better than everybody else. They don't give a shit about anybody else, but then at the same time claim that they're somehow godly. It's like, that's bullshit. Like, when you see Trump doesn't wear a cross around his neck, even though he claims he represents Jesus, but he has all of his other people, all his other women walk around with their crosses on all day long, sinning literally right in front of the camera 24/7, calling people names, threatening people, saying people should be hung and they should be killed and they should be found guilty of treason and blah, 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 just for exercising their right to free speech and following the Constitution. They wear the cross, and it's because they have to, because their actions show that they're not Christian, so they need a tchotchke to blink at everybody and say, as long as they see the cross, they'll ignore everything I'm saying. It's all about image. It's all about projection. It's all about what you see. You got to present. It's like anybody that has a Trump Bible that's like holding that up. It's like, oh, I'm so hardcore Christian. I paid $60 for a Trump Bible. No, you just proved that you're not Christian because you just bought a false idol and pissed God off. And you did it to impress your other friends that are equally as evil as you are, that want to see other people suffer and want to see the people that are the cause of that suffering benefit more. Because you think somehow you're going to get brought along for the ride because somehow you attach yourself to them because you're just as evil and just as conniving as they are, and it's fucking stupid. Pele G, how has Trump affected my everyday life financially? Oh, God. My 401k, cost of goods, cost of medical, my health insurance, my ability for certain things to be covered under health insurance, my medication prices, if I don't buy them from him directly. He's affected my relationships with my friends, my relationships with my family. He's hurt the people that I love. Tons and tons of the people that I love. He's hurt them horribly. He chases, tortures, harasses, and condones the harassment of the LGBTQ community, which are actually, many of them are my close friends. And he does it all under the guise of pretending to be a fucking like super Christian leader, the second coming of Jesus. Oh, and not only that, it's like I have a lot of friends in Canada, right? And it's like he's fucking ruining our relationship with Canada. Same thing with Mexico. He's trying to pull us out of NATO. The cost of gasoline is fucking insane. Like my wife the other night, we were gonna go get some food. I was like, not with the cost of gasoline at fucking $6 a gallon. We're not. If I sat down, and I did once, years ago, I sat down, I actually wrote out like a 3 or 4 page list. I should see if it's up on my Google Docs of just how it affected me then. And it's gotten so much worse since then. Trump's always like, oh, I'm making everybody's 401ks go up. No, it doesn't count when it goes up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, and sawtooths like this, and everybody has to sell to stay alive like me, where I have to sell the dip. Because I have no choice but to pay the bills on that day, and I don't know which day it's going to be up or down because I can't insider trade like you do, you fucking asshole. It's fucking, dude, it's fucking horrible. But one of the things I hate the most, one of the things I absolutely hate the most is how Trump has really, really poisoned the hearts of a lot of people that I thought I once knew. We're talking people that at one point in time would have given their shirt off the back to somebody, and they'd always give somebody the benefit of the doubt, and Trump turned them into an entitled prick that thinks all that matters is money. All that matters is the acquisition of wealth, not how you get it. You know, Trump has basically, by them attaching themselves to Trump, they've justified all of their bad actions going, oh, it's only business now. Things they never would have done before. Just because they finally found somebody successful, they go, because he's successful, that makes him right. When that's absolutely not true. How do you think international drug lords become successful? How do you think the fucking Ponzi scheme guys like Bernie Madoff become successful and Sam Bankman-Fried of FTX? How do these people all become Elon Musk? How do they become the richest man in the world? By doing good business? By being ethical? Fuck no. By stabbing every motherfucker in the back, lie, cheating, stealing on every contract, becoming a citizen by lying, violating your visa to make more money. You know, it's gross. If you go back and look at Elon, he hasn't contributed shit. He's not a rocket builder. He's not an engineer. He's never built a car. He's never fucking built a rocket. Elon's done none of these things. All Elon does is lie to investors to get money and gamble on the people that he hired paying off for him, or just selling a lie entirely and then spinning that wealth to attack the person before they can take some kind of vengeance on him for it. And then rinse and repeat until he has so much money, so much power and wealth that the law no longer applies to him, which was a long time ago. And now he's free to do whatever he wants. The dude literally ran a fucking illegal scheme and in every single swing state, no other state, just the swing states during an election, paid out more money than not only any private individual, but any business and private individual combined on Trump's behalf to get people that normally don't vote to vote for him blindly just to be in a lottery. And then he even defrauded them. Even though he has that money, it turns out he didn't pay out most of it. Most of the $1 million a day or whatever he was giving out during that lottery thing to get people to vote for Trump, fucking turns out a lot of that didn't even give it out. And what does he do when he goes on a fucking podcast with Tucker Carlson? He's like, oh, if Trump doesn't get elected after all this, I'm definitely going to jail. He's like, I am 100% going to jail. He even knew what he did was highly illegal. But he's like, but if Trump wins, then I'm safe and I have all the power. And even Trump stabbed him in the back too, which is hilarious because he deserves it. But now Elon Musk, the guy who hates Donald Trump and thinks he's a child molester, now has to lick his cock every single day and act like he fucking loves him, even though he knows Trump has him by the balls and can take everything away from him if he wants to, because he knows he doesn't play by the rules. He knows he can't use the law because Trump owns the Supreme Court. So Elon just has to bend over and just let him do whatever he wants and just hopes that if he sucks him off hard enough and he plays ball, moving on. Because here's the thing, Trump, no matter what you do bad to him, no matter how much you piss him off, if you come back and grovel at his feet and give him millions of dollars, he forgets it. Because he doesn't care. Everything he does is transactional. He doesn't care if you truly like him or not. He just wants you to have the public persona of liking him in exchange for money or some kind of benefit he can give you. And then if you don't, some kind of punishment he can levy against you to teach the others to fall into line. Oh, did you see where Elon's ex-girlfriend came out and said Elon rigged it? Oh, yeah. And she's not the only one. Like, if you go back and look at the numbers in the swing states, they make no sense compared to any of the other states. If you look at the election across the entire electoral college, and look at past elections, and you look at those swing states, Elon Musk moved that needle a lot. Not a little, a lot. And that fucker should be in jail for it. But no, he's literally the richest man in the world. The only thing that Trump said, the only message Trump says is that you can be a rapist, a child molester, a multi-count felon, and still be the most powerful person in the world as long as you are dishonest enough and you have absolutely no morals. I fucking hate that, man. I really hate that. I have to think we're better than that. Scott said, sadly, my sister has her head so far up Trump's loved ass, she is unreachable. But then she was never the brightest bulb in the box. I mean, it literally is a cult by every definition of the word. And sadly, a lot of people are really caught up in the cult. Because it like every cult, you have the people that are caught up in the cult. And then you have the people that act like they're caught up in the cult that are literally just other cultists taking advantage of their position within the cult to benefit themselves. But at the end of the day, it's just a Ponzi scheme. It's always moving one thing. It's like some kind of resource. It's either money or taking somebody's autonomy away from them or just simply using somebody. Like you get these Trump supporters that literally Trump could say something and they will agree with him wholeheartedly and fight the opposite position. And the next day Trump switches his position because somebody paid him. And then they immediately switch their position too. JD Vance says, if you go back, JD Vance, every single thing JD Vance says today is the opposite of what he said 6 months ago. Everything he said 6 months ago is the opposite of what he said 2 years ago. JD Vance lives. He will correct himself literally in real time. He'll do an interview. And by the time he gets to the next interview and they're asking him about his answer in the first interview, he changes it. Because he found out that while he was given that answer, Trump once again changed his answer because somebody else gave him something or somebody else enriched him further. Goddamn, man. It's gross. I fucking hate it. But yeah, man, if you want to scare yourself, go back and study fucking 1933 Germany. Seriously. You can start at 1926 and work your way forward, but 1933, that was the pivotal point. And it literally Trump and his fucking Project 2025 goons, they are literally copying off his paperwork. And the sad thing is, it's like he didn't even go back that far to copy off Hitler. What he's really doing is copying off Putin's paperwork, but Putin copied off of his paperwork. So it's like same deal. They all use the same tactic and it keeps working. That's the thing I don't get. You think that we'd learn from history and we wouldn't allow shit like this to happen again, but it's happening. It's happening exactly the same. The only thing that changes is the times, the technology, and how fast information moves. But the same plot just keeps happening again. You have a fucking guy who is a convicted felon who fought against the state, who is corrupt as fuck, gets a bunch of followers behind him by promising them a bunch of false bullshit and saying that they're better than somebody else, that they're somehow the master race, aka MAGA. And then you use that to build a militia that you can control directly outside of your political position. And then you ultimately use that to cut the head off the stake to take total power and when the time is right. And that's the night of long knives, which is coming. It's already happened in some respects, but there's going to be another one for sure. And that's when Trump has to take the states. Because remember, Hitler basically took over their federal aspect and then he needed the power of the provinces or the states. So what did he do? He sent in his ICE, otherwise known SS or SA, under the guise of managing immigration, which both of them do. And then once they were in place, he used them as a private police force to get rid of anybody and to lock up anybody who stood against him. Didn't matter if it was in the Constitution, didn't matter if it was protected. He already usurped all the police forces by putting a bunch of fucking ICE officers in the police forces themselves and merging those police forces with ICE so then he could control those local police forces, which he's been doing. That's why ICE is in like every fucking police department is double dipping. Like even here in Washington and Seattle, there are literally police officers that are also ICE officers at the same time. That is a massive fucking conflict of interest. How are you supposed to uphold your state law and implement the state law and the state constitution while you're also federally bound to follow Trump's orders directly? Like, fuck that. That's bad. That's really, really bad. What I really hope, and I hope it's not too late, is I just hope people start actually doing the research now. Like literally go out there and look at what's happening. Like, look at the cost of goods. Look at the trends of the cost of gasoline. Look at the conflicts before and after. Look at the treaties we had before and after. Look at unemployment before and after. Look at the where AI is now without regulation versus where it could have been had we regulated it early enough. It's like, goddamn, man. It's like every single day, something else bad happens to take our rights away from us and to silence us. I mean, even communication online is going to be fucking impossible. because on X, I have 108,000 followers on X, and I can reach like 20 of them now. Because Elon Musk now has an AI that can read every single thing I say, and regardless of how I say it, how I word it, how I encrypt it, I can base 64 encode every message now. Doesn't matter. The AI can basically weight it and decide who it's going to share amongst my audience based on what they're susceptible to, what I'm saying, and based on his own algorithm. And it's all done automatically by AI. Same thing with Zuckerberg and Facebook. It's like we're going to get to a point where communication can only flow when you're in alignment with the owner of said communication pipeline. That's bad. Pretty soon, same shit will happen with telephones. You'll go to call somebody on a telephone because there's no way to reach them over the internet with a specific message. So what do? You get on the phone, you start talking to them. The second you say a word or you go in a direction that the AI predicts that you're saying something, it's going to just cut the signal. It will not allow you to physically communicate with people. Anything that it thinks is going to upset the apple cart or is going to, make anybody wise to what's really going on. We're not quite there yet, but it's going to get there if we keep letting it go the way it is. And sadly, when shit like this happens, only one of two things happens in the end. If we can't solve the problem and get him out and repair the damage, which even if Trump was gone tomorrow, there's still so many bad players that he's put in place that are just like him. It's not like he's just going to be gone and everything suddenly starts healing. It would be a big step, sure, but you're still going to have J.D. Vance. It's like, and then after him, you're still going to have who'd be next in line, Speaker of the House, right? Which would be Comey or whatever. It's not good. It's not good. So it's like you basically just keep spiraling out of control until eventually it either devolves to civil war or world war. Same thing happened in Germany. It could be a Cold War. I mean, technically it could be a Cold War too. As a matter of fact, with the way things are going right now, it'd probably be a Cold War just because everybody's pointing nuclear weapons at each other, and anything that could escalate to a nuclear proportion immediately has to back off or risk everybody losing, even the rich people that don't care about anybody that gets consumed in the fire. Vance would be a bit worse. He's a bit smarter. I don't know. Vance has proven that he's very easily controlled. That's the thing that worries me about Vance is he is so easily controlled, and he will so easily even sell out his family and his kids and everything like that. He has no personal loyalty except for to himself. And that's exactly what Trump is. He's definitely smarter than Trump for sure. And I'll give you that. But I'm just saying he still has the exact same aspirations of Trump now. You got to be some kind of sharp person to navigate to shut it down. It hasn't happened yet. Exactly. And here's the thing. If it wasn't for the Supreme Court, it honestly, all signs point back to the Supreme Court. If it wasn't for them giving him the absolute immunity that allows him to just ignore any legal obligation, any penalty or anything levied against him, that one piece of legislation that just gave him that unprecedented power that he asked for very good reason, positioned him in exactly the same situation that Hitler was. Hitler could literally write his own things into law. Every day he did it. Hitler literally be, this is the law. Done. Bypass their Congress, bypass everything. They'd say this is illegal. Doesn't matter. He had the SS, the SA, and the highest court in the land certify and rubber stamp everything he did. And he literally had them approve, saying that he can legislate by himself unilaterally. They gave him that power. And Trump essentially has that power today because who's going to fight him? Do the people get any representation anymore? No. What happens when something goes to Congress right now? And the Republicans are going to vote with the Democrats against something highly illegal Trump's doing. Boom, boom, boom. Or sorry, I just said Comer earlier. I didn't mean Comer. I meant Mike. Mike, whatever his name is. Bang the gavel, everybody go home. Bang the gavel, everybody go home. They have sent this fucking Congress home so many times over Epstein. Anytime anything Epstein comes to the floor, boom, boom, boom. Everybody go on paid vacation for 3 more weeks, 2 more weeks, 3 more weeks. Every single time. Because they won't risk it coming to the floor because they know that the Republicans will vote with the Democrats to see it through. To prevent Ghislaine Maxwell from getting a pardon and stuff like that. Like, that's shit that matters to the American people. They do not want to see pedophiles being rewarded and insurrectionists being rewarded for hurting our police officers and hurting children. They don't want to see that on. I mean, there are some that do, but I'm saying the majority clearly don't. So how do you block the majority from having any representation in a democracy? You just keep shutting their house down. You just keep it shut down perpetually. You only allow it to stay open when it's beneficial to yourself and your one side. That's it. And to keep in mind, it's not even the Republicans. Notice it's not even the Republicans anymore. It's MAGA. It's MAGA. If you are a conservative Republican and you are not licking Trump's balls, You are no longer you're not a MAGA. You're just a Republican. That's a dead term that they've usurped. Like Republican to MAGA, that's a Trump thing now. He would even be the first to tell you, shit. How many hardcore Republican representatives has Trump turned on now because they were against pedophilia, or they were against the cost of gas going through the roof, or they were against war, which are common positions for conservatives to hold. Like, but now he's like, oh, closet liberal. You're a liberal. You're a Democrat. Just because a lifelong Republican didn't agree with the bullshit he was doing that's 100% against conservative values. Dude, we are in a bad way, folks. We are in a bad way. James Janus said Hitler literally wrote laws to allow him to do anything he wanted. And if somebody tried to stop him from doing whatever he wanted, he just killed them. Trump isn't killing those that stop him. He's going to get there, though. He won't kill himself. Hitler didn't do his own dirty work either. What he'll do is, if they can stop him, if they can legitimately stand his way and stop him, he'll imprison them, he'll deport them, or he'll threaten their families. That's actually worked for a lot of people. Surprisingly, it hasn't worked for Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's pretty dumb. she's too dumb to be intimidated by him. But she even kind of did get afraid and left the country. I mean, she got herself a place outside of the country that she can run and hide at because she knows that Trump can reach her if she gets a little too dangerous. Because you got to remember, Trump directly commands ICE, and ICE has killed a lot of people. ICE has hurt a lot of people, and Trump has called for the rewards and for awards and protection and praise of these actions of these ICE officers. He doesn't condemn anything they've done that's bad. Like even just like straight up shooting a woman. Like he won't condemn any of it because that's his SS. That's his SA. He needs that militia to see him as a god and to answer everyone's orders and know that he has their back and he'll protect them no matter what they do. It's exactly what Hitler did with the SA and the SS. And let me tell you right now, because he has that unlimited immunity and nobody can stand against him and he can just keep doing whatever the fuck he wants and just let things just have the Congress always out of session, because he can do that and he can clog up the machine so nothing can. He doesn't have to arrest or kill anybody yet. The problem's going to come is when people actually do something. Like when there is an effective body, or if there can be an effective body. I don't think there can be moving forward. But if there's an effective body that can hold Trump accountable, that legitimately can, and Trump knows that it can hold him accountable and it really does have a chance of removing him, do you really think he's not going to make the call for shit to happen? No, shit'll happen for sure. 100%. Trump, he knows he can't leave the White House too. He knows that his immunity only is for his years in office. If he ever leaves the White House, all the sentencing that was suspended from his previous federal cases can go back into effect. All of his previous convictions and all of his previous indictments all still go into play when he comes out of office. No statute of limitations have been exhausted. So he knows he can't leave office. Trump knows that. That's why he's already saying he's going to run for 2028. And, he said it was a joke during his campaign because he needed to be elected. He knew that wouldn't sit well with a lot of people, that he's against the Constitution. But now that he's there, he's like, no, he has to. He cannot leave the White House. He knows that if he leaves the White House, he's done. So anybody that thinks there's going to be a fair election in 2028, you're fooling yourselves. He's already fucking with the midterms. Like, he's already very openly and very publicly fucking with the midterms. But you can't do anything to him. Doesn't matter. You can even point at the Constitution and say, this is what he's violating. And then you say, hey, Supreme Court, are you going to step in? They're like, we're not going to look at that, because the Supreme Court can pick and choose their cases. So if there's any case where they can't rule favorably for Trump and it could cause Trump problem and he could cause problems for them, then they just say, no, we're not interested, because they got the majority. Oh yeah, if the midterms are looking bad for him, he'll go on TV from the White House and he'll say, oh, the election has been rigged, Americans, this is an attack on our system, so we're not going to count the ballots and we're not going to honor anything. There has to be a do-over. And then everybody's going to be like, but it was officially handled. Everything was legal. The state laws were observed and signed off on, and these are the results. And Trump's just going to just say, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm going to tell everybody that's fraud, and I'm going to say that I'm the president that's fighting back against it. And who would remove the president for committing treason like that? Like he's already done several times. The FBI, nope, he owns the FBI. The DOJ, nope, he owns the DOJ. The Attorney General, nope, he owns the Attorney General. The local DC police force, nope, his ICE officers pretty much took that over. So yeah, we literally have nobody left. Like the only people that can literally remove Trump from office for committing treason is the people. And at this point, that would be considered a civil war. So which is the last thing I ever want to see. SNX Girl said immigrants pay more tax than Trump's whole family. 100%. Trump doesn't pay taxes. Jeff Bezos doesn't pay taxes. Elon Musk doesn't pay taxes. As a matter of fact, not only do they not pay taxes, they actually take our tax dollars. We pay them our taxes to exist. When you're corrupt and you hit critical mass like they have, and corruption, it's like you pay them. They don't pay their due. Nobody. The richer you are, the less taxes you pay. Percentage wise, it's always been that way. That's because in capitalism, the companies don't pay their fair share of taxes. They instead take a chunk of that money that they should be paying as their taxes and use it to lobby to give themselves tax breaks, which puts more tax burden on the people. So they're like, you know where our money would be better spent? Instead of giving this to taxes to benefit all of the people, why don't we spend this towards the corrupt people to lobby so that they take the power and they take the money away from the people instead, and then we just keep more of our own money. That's what we're going to do. And that's why people say, in capitalism, the companies run everything, right? It's like, it's not a true democracy. When you have the electoral college and you have lobbying allowed, the businesses at the end of the day pay everybody's paycheck. Oh, it's fucking terrible, man. I just wish more people knew what was going on. That's the hardest part about it, is a lot of people, they turn a blind eye and they're just like, oh shit, groceries are super expensive. Oh shit, my bank account's going down a lot faster. Oh shit, my rent's going up way more than it's supposed to. Oh shit, they just look at it and they're like, oh man, that's a darn shame, man. That's just the sign of the times, and they just go along with it and they're just like, it is what it is. No, it's not. It is what it is. If you actually knew what was going on, you'd know that every single one of these things is avoidable. It could go in the absolute opposite direction. This is all happening to insulate a fucking pedophile. At the end of the day, if you want to get down to the absolute brass tacks, this is all to insulate a 30 felony convicted pedophile and rapist who wants to protect his pedophile and rapist buddies, who had used his entire first term not to serve the people, but to enrich himself and put people in positions so that during his second term, he could carry out Project 2025 and ensure that he never has to leave office again for the rest of his life. Everything he did was to cede himself more power and more money at the expense of literally everybody else. The only other people that got anything except for him were the people that were greasing him. That's it. It's fucking stupid, man. And like Elon Musk, fucking the richest man in the world who just sits on his money and spends everybody else's money. This guy came to this country and violated his visa, which he shouldn't have even had, and then got citizenship by lying on a citizenship form, which has never been revoked. So Elon Musk should not be a citizen. He lied on his citizenship, and he never should have even been able to take the citizenship because he lied. He violated his visa. And yet he's not only here, he's the richest man in the world that pays absolutely no taxes and can do absolutely anything he wants whenever he wants and never can be held accountable for the law for anything. That's fucking crazy, man. This is the kind of shit that you don't want to hear can happen, but it does. It's like, it's not a fairy tale fucking life. It's like the most corrupt and the most horrible people that are capable of doing the worst shit to their fellow man. They're the ones that prosper the most in the society. And I don't even know how you fix that, because the problem is corruption runs deep. You have the people that are willing to fight for the people, and the people that believe in the Constitution and believe in freedom of speech and our freedoms and our rights. And you have those people. And then what happens? They get thrown into a cesspool of a group of their peers that are like, listen, we're all on the take. And if you're not on the take too, or you get in our way, we're going to push you out. We're going to lie about you. We're going to run false campaigns. We're going to attack you and your family. We're going to scare the shit out of you. We're going to run you out of town unless you become corrupt like us. And then once you become corrupt like us, even though you think you'll still be able to do good, even though now you're corrupt to stay here, you just won't, because nobody's going to allow any good to be done. So it's like the shit's broken. I mean, it's always been broken to some degree, but I mean, it's the most broken it's ever been. I genuinely am worried that we're beyond saving at this point without some major worldwide action. But the good news is there is some good news, and that is if civil war does break out at some point, and Trump's already preparing for it. I mean, that's why he's spending $1.2 billion of taxpayer money to build himself a fortress with a fucking drone shield on top of it under his little, ballroom. You know, he already knows shit's going to hit the fan at some point, and he just wants to make sure that he has a place that he can fucking, you know, live in absolute, like, you know, live the most lavish lifestyle he possibly can with the best medical, best food, everything, while everybody else is fucking suffering their balls off. He doesn't care. He's just getting himself set up for life so he can just do whatever the fuck he wants for his final days, and then leave it behind for his son, his fucking cokehead son, who's just like him. Oh, I mean, yeah, he is old and sick, but that also worries me too. It worries me for the same reason that Putin's old and sick. I mean, these are people that they don't care about anybody else but themselves. Any affection that they seem to share for other people, it's only because of what that person does more for them than they do for them. It's all transactional. So when he's near the end and he knows that he can't fight anymore, and he knows that, you know, his Christian grift, you know, didn't pay off, and he's going to slip into darkness for eternity. When he gets to that point, who's to say the fucker isn't going to just launch nukes? I feel the same thing about Kim Jong-un and the same thing about Putin. I'm like, when these guys get close to their end, they have no loyalties. The only loyalty, Putin appears to love his daughter, like actually truly loves his daughter, not sexually like Trump, but like truly loves his daughter. So he may actually hold off on just like flipping the nuclear switch just for her benefit. But Trump, no, I can see Trump totally just being like, oh, okay, if I'm going out, I'm going to take everybody else with me. How are the Trump phones? How are they? Oh, they're garbage. They're garbage. It's a $150 phone being sold for $500. It's straight out of China. It's running a modified version of Android, straight out of China. And apparently the phones don't work fantastic, and they don't use a Trump network. They use T-Mobile. They just resell T-Mobile service for a big markup without giving you anything extra. All the extras they claim that they gave you, like the roadside assistance, it's all extra stuff you have to pay for from third parties. It's not stuff they offer. I mean, the whole thing was a lie. To be fair, they only, I think when they got their true numbers, when the website got hacked, they only sold like 10,000 of them. They said they sold 600,000, but it turned out only being about 10,000. And that's why they didn't make the phone. If you're wondering why the phone kept getting delayed, they needed to sell like 600,000 of them to go into production. But then all the bad press that was coming their way forced them to go into production last minute. They slapped a paint job on whatever fucking phone was the least popular and cheapest they could get their hands on. They put a flag on it, missing 2 lines on the bottom, and fucking started selling it to mega grifters, you know, to get them off their back. You know, it's crazy. But yeah, no, it's a shitty phone. I'd be surprised if they haven't figured out exactly which one it is right now. Like, somebody had to have cracked one open by now on YouTube. I haven't looked recently, but they had to have. It's crazy to me how many people aren't more bothered by the fact that corporations are thinking it's rational to replace human brains with computers that do a worse job consuming more. Well, remember, at the end of the day, capitalism is make as much money as you can while spending the least. So the person who wins is the person who has the biggest delta between cost and profit. So replacing humans, the second that they could do it, they were going to do it. Keep in mind, they've always done it. Like, even before computers came along, the second that they could fire your, you know, you had 20 years seniority and you're pulling down a huge salary, and they could replace you with some kid straight out of college because they could trick you into giving you all their knowledge, they just do it. They would tell you how important you are to the company. Like, I remember from Microsoft all the time. Oh, we couldn't do it without you. We all have each other's backs. We're one big family. Microsoft couldn't produce products without you. And then one day they're just like, oh, we just laid off 26,000 of y'all. We let a computer pick the names out of a hat. No, anything a company tells you to say, and that's why I tell you, have no loyalty to your company. Zero. Don't listen to oh, you're the best. Here's your promotion. Oh, you're doing so good. Oh, we couldn't do this without you. No, they say that because you're cheaper than the next guy they'd have to pay to do your job. That's all they're doing. They're trying to keep you because you are an asset at the time. The second that there's any situation where they can make more money hiring somebody else, your ass is gone. The second they can replace you, your ass is gone. The second they can trick you into to training your replacement, you're gone. At the end of the day, it's about bottom line. It always is. Profit is king. And a matter of fact, that's actually law, by the way. Like as a corporation, if you are a publicly traded corporation, you are not beholden to your customers, and you are not beholden to your employees. You are 100% legally and fiducially reporting to your investors. So if it makes more money to your investors to sell the company off to some Chinese firm and lay everybody off, that's what you do. Even if the company could be totally successful, go in a different route and employ a bunch of people and make a bunch of people's lives better, doesn't matter. It's whatever makes the investors the most money in the moment. That's the decision. As a matter of fact, that's the fucking legal loophole that Elon used to buy X. Or Twitter. Remember when the Twitter board did not want to sell to him and they poison pilled it by putting out an insane price that nobody would pay? Elon was just like, whatever, I'll pay that, and I'll even pay more than that, to basically force them into a sale. There was no way. And then he tried to get out of it at the last minute, which I really wished he had of. Now, thinking back in hindsight, I really wish that he had gotten out of the deal. But no, they after he did that and realized how much he overpaid and how bad Twitter was actually doing, he tried to back out of the deal, and they didn't let him. They held his ass to the flames just out of pure spite, but they never wanted to sell to him. Yeah, the fiduciary duty to the shareholders is what caused that deal to go down. It's really sad. Oh, man. The Trump watch is made with authentic blood diamond. I'm sure it's cubic zirconia. I've seen Trump watches where the website and the designer of the watches are similar to like how Rolex is a designer watch. And the Trump watch is like garbage for the value. Like everything Trump sells is like 10,000% markup. He doesn't sell a single anything that's a deal. He literally banks on his cult paying a premium to wear his name. Because remember, supporting Trump isn't about supporting what Trump does. You're supporting Trump. That's the difference. That's the big difference between Trump and every other politician. Other people support a politician because of what that politician does for them and the people around them, right? You agree with them on policies. Most people that support Trump don't agree with any of his shit. They support him as an idol. They see him as a Christian Jesus, where they have to look past the evil and look past, oh, the book says we have to forgive. Oh, it says that God chooses flawed people. All the rhetoric. They look at that and they say, just ignore everything he's doing. Just support the person. And that's where organized religion becomes dangerous. It was very dangerous to Germany when Hitler came along. It was very dangerous to Russia when Putin came along. And now it's very dangerous to us. And that is when you create a cult instilled on you being a prophet of a religion that you've been indoctrinated into since birth. It's no longer, it doesn't matter if you rape people. It doesn't matter if you kill children. It doesn't matter. You could do anything. There is zero limit. They will double down on supporting you, the person. They don't support you, your policy. They don't support your decisions. They don't support your intellect. They support the name. Your name is associated with deity. Therefore, faith require and the more fuck ups you do, the more I have to support you, because it's a test of faith. Every Abrahamic religion has that same built-in failsafe that keep people from just scattering away from the religion. And that is, the worse shit gets and the harder things get for you, the more you have to believe in that person, the more effort you have to put into like supporting that person, because it's a test of your faith. The harder it gets, you got to prove, right? Cain and Abel, man. And that's not just a Christian thing. That's been built into lots of religions going way, way, way back. That's been a dead man switch that have kept a lot of religions from having mass attrition. Funny thing is, they still have mass attrition at the end of the day. Like they all do, but that's how you keep a religion together and you keep your numbers strong, is you have to indoctrinate people into a system where they believe if they leave that system, they will be eternally punished beyond measure and an eternal afterlife. So you have to establish that afterlife, indoctrinate that afterlife, and then use it as a punishment. And then the flip side of that is you also have to use the faith in support of somebody, blind faith, to believe in something without evidence or to believe in something against all evidence. That's rewarded. Like, that's how you get to that reward, is you have to, the more unsuited that person looks to the job, the more dangerous they are, the more horrible things that they do, the more you realize that it's just a test of your faith and you need to grip on even harder. And that's where this shit just keeps getting more and more dangerous. And that's how you keep getting Hitler over and over and over and over again. Hitler was not a religious man. He was as atheist as they come. But once he realized that, he could get his little grubbers into the Christian right, he took it. Look at Putin. Putin was also an atheist. And then he realized that the Orthodox Christianity or Catholicism or whatever it is in Russia, he realized that was what the people really held on to in hard times. And by him projecting that and becoming a part of it, he became a deity, and they deitized him and they gave him all that power. And then once he had all that power, now it's just in name and projected on him. He doesn't actually practice it. He's like Trump, right? He might say the word every once in a while, but he doesn't know it. He doesn't read it. He doesn't care about any of it. Although I will say Putin is much more educated than Trump ever was. Fucking wild though, man. We live in wild times. Oh, I forgot Pele's question earlier. I know it said, hey guys, is there anything you would like to buy that you don't really need? I'm trying to think of what I don't really need because I really do need a CPAP. Although I may try to replace the motor in it to save some money. Oh no, Pele, are you even still in here? I want to see if Pele is still here. I don't know if he is or not. James Campbell said, we have seen the moral failings of all Abrahamic religions in spades in the past 20 years. Well, to be fair, I mean, like Christianity, Catholicism, Judaism, Islam, they're all second string to, basically, the Egyptian religion and the sun god. And then before the sun god, there's plural gods. And before plural gods, you go all the way back to Sumerians and the invention of language. And then that led to like the first written language, or the first written religion. But there was even religions before that. So it's like every society eventually comes to a point where they hit a critical mass where the only way to keep the people together is to indoctrinate them young and to create a fear that you can control so that they can't leave. You basically teach them to chain themselves to the post so they don't run away. And then your society eventually hits a critical mass where even with that in place, you still have people slipping through the cracks. But then when they go and form their communities, they remember the indoctrination they had and how powerful that was. And then they use that as their starting point to build their empire, knowing that they have to defend themselves and they can only do that with numbers, and they can't have the numbers without using that fear to keep everybody glued together. And it just happens over and over and over and over again. Should send Reckless Ben to Rogers Media Tower in Toronto. Dude, I've been watching Reckless Ben's videos on the latest Lego scandal, the bricks and minifigs. God, I've been loving that. He just did a new drop today. I need to go watch after this. I pooed somewhere over there. Love the name, by the way. He said, my theory is driving force behind all this shit Americans have been enduring is external. The external force doesn't want real tech in people's hands, simple devices to access an AI agent for all. I mean, at the end of the day, it benefits any IT corporation, whether it's here in the United States or anywhere else. AI is, so it used to be search engines were a way to get our data. Then social media was a way to get our data. Now AI is the ultimate way to get our data because AI can literally interface with everything. Your car, your fucking broom, your coffee pot, your fridge, your phone, wherever you go. There will be a time where there is no place you can stand where you are not in earshot of some microphone recording everything you say on standby to see if it gets the cue to talk to you or to do something for you. But it's always going to be recording everything you do and everything you say and watching everything you do and everything you say. So data is the new gold. So every single company wants more data. Why do you think AIs are subsidizing this shit to where they're selling a token for a penny that costs them $1? They're all hemorrhaging literally billions and billions and billions of dollars a year. Every single one of these AI companies, like none of the actual AI data center providers are profitable. Why are they doing it then? Why are they just burning investor money? Because they know that at some point that's going to flip. They're going to use all that subsidized revenue to get people addicted and trained into the system to where they feel like they can't do their job or they can't even survive without it. And then what they're going to do is once they get to that point, then they're going to flip the switch and go, oh, it's going to cost you. And now they're going to charge $1.20 for that dollar token, and people are going to pay it. And they're already doing it with businesses right now, right? A lot of these businesses are paying pennies on the dollar to tie into their infrastructure with short-term contracts. The second those contracts are up, they're going to go, okay, the new terms are not a 15% increase. It's going to be a 500% increase. And then they're going to be like, we're not paying that. We'll put up our own data center, until they run the numbers and realize putting up their own data center is going to put them close within that target and take them a year or two. And a lot of licensing and other fees that they didn't want to pay. So then they're just going to agree to pay it. So right now we're in the honeymoon phase. Right now we're in the phase where it's like, oh, this seems great. And it's like AI is free everywhere. And you can always find some place where you can use it for free. But no, make no mistake. We're all just the product right now. They're buying up as much of our knowledge as they possibly can right now without us realizing it. And then they're going to flip a switch. And then suddenly you're not useful to your job anymore because there's a robot that can do everything that you do better and cheaper. Oh, darn it. They get taken down? Hold on here. In all fairness. I was thanking Slant 3D on X for not using bamboo printers. Fuck bamboo, man. Seriously, I'm so glad that Louis Rossman's standing up to them. Fuck those guys. It's just like honey. Just like honey. I called out all the evil bullshit from day one. And everybody's like, oh no, you're jealous, you're a hater, blah, blah, blah. And then years later, it's like everybody acts like, oh my God, we're just now discovering this? No. No, I blew the fucking top off the bamboo thing fucking years ago with them stealing Prusa Slicer, claiming it was their own, and then getting caught in the act, and then pulling all their proprietary shit out of Prusa Slicer to put it into a second project in violation of AGPL, and then just uploading the bare minimum that they had to. Like, no, fuck bamboo, man. They've been corrupt from the beginning. The only reason people suck through dick and protect them is because they send them shitloads of printers and filaments and shit and pay them off. Bamboo is one of those companies that doesn't just send you a printer to review. They send you a big fat fucking paycheck and affiliate commissions and everything with it. So that's why you notice that there's a lot of people in the 3D printing community that have bamboo printers that didn't pay for them, that aren't speaking out against bamboo or even weighing in at all on this topic or even defending bamboo outright. That's why. It's only business. It's frustrating to watch. Because it's like the people that are actually fighting against what bamboo's doing are like the developers that are largely outside of the 3D printing arena, that are just in general technology. People that bamboo didn't reach with a paycheck and didn't reach with a sponsorship. Because here's the thing. I know people that spoke out against bamboo in the past and their sponsorships get immediately pulled. You criticize their printer, they immediately pull it. Nope, no more support. Nope, we're going to stop. We're going to stop your affiliate thing. Nope, you're done. Bamboo runs a tight ship. If they're going to send you free shit and give you free shit, they expect you to just say their printer's fucking amazing. And if you say anything even remotely negative, to like realize that it's got to be very, very minor shit that like most people wouldn't even complain about. And I fucking hate that. That's why a lot of people are like, why aren't you like heavy into 3D printing anymore? I mean, a lot of the reason why I'm not even making videos and stuff, it's just the way YouTube's gone, my health, a whole bunch of factors. But one of the reasons I'm not hugely in the 3D printing community anymore is because it's been going largely the way of like the gaming and Minecraft community. It went from this community of a lot of open source minds coming together and sharing intellectual property to create a better experience for the betterment of the community. Now all it is a couple of fucking multi-million-dollar corporations trying to use open source against the people that created the technology that made their technology possible. And to try to hurt the community and steal away all the customers and subsidize it by breaking the rules that other people have to follow, which makes their product cost more, so that they can outsell them and then use that money to fucking attack them and take away the open source and take away the shit that made their product possible, and to prevent other people from following in their footsteps, which they wouldn't even be there without it. Bamboo as a printer wouldn't even exist, let alone be a cheap printer, without all the source code that they've fucking taken over the years. They've been called out so many times, even by myself, to conduct a third-party code review, to allow a third-party firm under NDA to do a full code review of their code to make sure that they're not in violation of AGPL, and they refuse it and ignore it every single time. They know what they did. With the number of developers they had, it would be absolutely impossible for them to ground up everything that they've done. And keep in mind, in the beginning, they said that their slicer was ground up, built in-house, until they forgot to pull out a line that said Prusa Slicer inside of the code and that they missed. That shows you how good they are at coding. I mean, they literally copied code, did a facelift on it, and didn't even think to search for the word Prusa anywhere in the source code to replace it. That's how dumb they are. And then when they got caught, it's like, oh, no, internal mistake. Oh, this was just a communication error. No, okay, it turns out it is Prusa Slicer. And then it takes them weeks to publish it because they have to go in and tear out all their shit they added to it so that they can put that in a separate project so that they can now upload and say they're in compliance with AGPL when really they're only uploading the bare minimum, and all the other shit that they added, which is supposed to be shared under AGPL. That's how it works. It's a two-way road. They hold themselves. So basically, Bamboo, all their proprietary features are the only things that they even slightly created, and even those were heavily borrowed. But then nobody else can use them because then they're okay, we're going to copyright it because the open source community couldn't. They created, but we're going to trademark it or copyright it or call it something special. And then we're going to fight anybody else that tries to do anything in that space. They're literally like the second coming of fucking Stratasys. And it's like, I miss the old 3D printing community. I miss the old 3D printing community where, everybody just loved fucking 3D printing and just making shit. That was amazing. That was amazing. When the 3D printer companies, they were pretty much all open source. They all ran like some variation of Marlin. Anybody could go and modify the code themselves or get modified code. They had full and absolute control of their printers. They knew exactly what their printers were sending and receiving. They had full confidence in their shit. Not anymore. Not anymore. Now you go buy a Bamboo and you plug it into your network and it immediately starts broadcasting shit to the cloud before you even type your first character. You ask Bamboo, hey, what are you transmitting? Can I get my decryption key so I can see the outbound traffic in the packet sniffer and see what you guys are sending? Nope. Sorry, that's our key. fuck? I mean, it's, yeah. Trust me, they're not just sending. They're everything you print on a Bamboo goes to their cloud. If you design the next object that's going to change the world, every single time you print out a prototype, that's being broadcast to their servers, and they have it now. And if they want to go out and put a fucking trademark or a copyright on it before you get a chance to, they can. Hell, even if you put a trademark or copyright on it, they can probably just go dig it out of their database and go, oh, we designed this. We actually created this before they did. They must have stole it from us. You'd have a hard time fighting that argument uphill. So I really hope that there's some success against them this time, because I am sick and fucking tired of Bamboo. And this, I've had a couple people now say this, and it's so fucking wrong. They're like, oh, you're just mad because they didn't send you a printer. I turned it down. I turned Bamboo down. Bamboo wanted to send me a printer. Bamboo wanted to give me an affiliate link. Like back in the day when the shit just started to kick off and they first came out and their name was, I had nothing against them. I actually thought, oh, this is going to be cool. But no, then lie after lie, security issue after security issue, the way they were handling shit publicly, I was like, fuck that. I will not touch that printer with the 10-foot pole. I was the one that said no. You know, it's like that's what's funny. And if you think that's wrong, look at my position in the 3D printing community back then. I was getting 12 million views a month on YouTube. I was in the top 3% bucket of all tech tubers on all of YouTube. And I was the one that, if you go back to like 2011, I was doing 3D printing. When most people didn't even know what a 3D printer was. I was cranking shit out of my cardboard Ultimaker. So I was actually like one of the OG pillars of 3D printing on YouTube when that all kicked off. Like most of the other channels were like big Stratasys machines and companies posting little videos of stuff. Like I was the guy that was like fucking sitting there making the funny videos of printing stuff on my desktop along with a few others in the very early years. You know, so thinking that, oh yeah, they wouldn't offer you a printer, you're not popular enough. No, you're looking at me today standing on my morals. You're not looking at me at 12 million views a month when I said no. I said no to a lot of companies. My rule to every single company I always made was, I will not take your product if it's not something I know I'll use. Like it has to be something I know I'll use if it's good, and if it's not good, I'll just send it back. And if I'm going to do any kind of affiliate deal where I'm selling your stuff, it has to be something that I use in my daily life. Like it's not going to be something that I just sell to other people that I don't use myself. That's why I still have my rad power bike in my garage. I still, all the keyboards that I reviewed and stuff, I had them and I used them for a very long time after I reviewed them. There are very few exceptions where I used something and I did a review of it and then later on found something wrong with it and then stopped using it. But as soon as I stopped using it, pulled the link, stopped promoting it. I was really, really big on standing on my morals. And I'll tell you what, it makes everything 1,000 times harder in this business when you have fucking morals. Because if you don't have morals and you're used to saying it's only business, oh, don't worry, it's only business. Those are the people that climb a lot easier, right? When it's only business and you can just drop people out of your lives and just kick people to the curb when they're no longer useful or you've outgrown them or they're no longer profitable. If you're somebody who can do shit like that and not lose sleep over it, you do great in this business. Me, somehow, I was lucky enough to get by and still be able to hang on to like my morals. Seriously. It was a struggle, but you know, the bubble popped. True Tech, they try to buy everybody. They tried to buy me. They tried to buy everybody. I remember, didn't I tell you guys the story about what happened with Loot Crate? So Loot Crate approaches me because I used to review Nerd Block. My son loved Nerd Block growing up. He absolutely loved it. And so I like Nerd Block too. I loved it. I used to have all the figures on my desk and everything. So I loved having that monthly surprise and doing those videos for you guys. So I get contacted by Loot Crate and they said, listen, we'll pay you $90,000 to review just for a year, 12 of our crates. But the rules are you can't review Nerd Block and you have to discredit Nerd Block and say that Loot Crate's better in every one of your videos, even though I opened a Loot Crate and it was garbage. So I was like, fuck you guys, take your $90,000 and shove it up your ass. A couple days later, I start hearing from like all my YouTuber friends and cohorts in the community. Oh, I just signed on with Loot Crate. They took the money and they had no problems in their videos saying shit about Nerd Block, even though they never even opened a Nerd Block before. And they're like, oh, it's only business. It's only money. Like they're selling this and fucking put up these affiliate links. And it's like, I was disgusted that so many people took it. But then the flip side is evil gets rewarded a lot in this world. So what happens? Nerd Block goes under. All the contracts stayed paid. So a lot of them only had to review like 3 or 4 Nerd Blocks and they got to keep the money. each person got like offered a different amount. I know one person got offered as high as 120,000, another person got offered 60. But still, that's a decent, I mean, that's a huge amount of money. That's a year's wages. So, and I said, fuck you. I said, fuck you. And then I messaged NerdBlock. I told them what they were doing. I was saying, just so you guys know, here's, you know, and they're like, yeah, we're well aware. They're trying to close our doors. They have been for a while now because they have a lower quality product, and more people were switching over to NerdBlock because of that. And because I reviewed NerdBlocks and they got a lot of views, Loot Crate's like, oh, we'll pay you $90,000 to just shit on NerdBlock. And they thought that, oh yeah, this is standard. Everybody does it. I was like, fuck you. And I thought a lot of other people would say fuck you too, but apparently I was wrong. They just took the money. And that happens a lot in this business, and I fucking hate it. That's the thing I hate the most about like the YouTube thing and the hustle. Right? The business hustle. It's like, oh, it's only money. Like, oh, I'm not endorsing it. I'm just selling it. I'm just telling people to buy it. I'm not endorsing it though. Oh, it's a paid sponsorship. So they know that when I say I love this product and it's amazing, they know that I don't really mean that. And when I say I use it every day, they know I don't really use it every day. No, then why are you saying it if that's true? Why you say, oh, it's only business, it's a script. No, this is just standard. Everybody does it. It's like I heard that so many goddamn times throughout my YouTube career. That's why I'm not really cut out for it. Like, I'm surprised I was as successful as I was for so long, standing on my laurels. I turned down tens of millions of dollars over the course of my career over the last 20 years. And I'll die poor, man. I'm telling you, I will die poor. That on the current trajectory that's going on and what's going on with our government and our country, and yeah, I will die fucking broke and penniless, but I will die with my morals intact. It's like, but goddamn, man, sorry, that's a frustrating thing for me. It's just a frustrating thing to watch because it's like everybody said you have to separate your business from your personal. When you go to business, you put on your business hats. It's all about making deals and getting the most money and undermining your figuring out whatever you got to do and whatever you got to say to take, more away from the other person or make more than the other person. It's all just a game and everybody understands that. I never understood that. I always was my same in real life as I was. What you saw in my videos was me in real life. I always put them together. I just as much identified as Barnacules as Jerry in my day-to-day life. My friends would even blur the lines and start calling me Barnacules and stuff just because it was so normal and natural. And, but to be fair, people said that, yeah, if I stayed on that course and I didn't separate them and I didn't learn to, bury my dignity and my morality and learn that, business is king and you got to undercut and be cutthroat and you got to go for the jugular. If I had done that, I'd probably be a much richer man right now, but I wouldn't be able to live with myself. Pro DVD said, my job uses a bamboo printer to print jigs and prototypes of our products. I don't think they're aware the 3D models might get stolen. No, they are getting stolen. Anything your company prints on a bamboo printer goes to the cloud. The only way it doesn't is if they disconnect. If they physically have the printer disconnected from the network and they only take the jobs over on a thumb drive and print them, then they might be okay. But also keep in mind that the slicer, if they're using Prusa or not Prusa, sorry, if they're using Bamboo Slicer also uploads all the shit to the cloud. So if the computer running Bamboo Slicer that they're even loading the model onto is connected to the internet, that model still makes it there, even if the printer is disconnected. So you might want to tell your bosses so they can look into that. And if they want to verify it and they contact Bamboo, Bamboo will just say, we can't give you the decryption keys to look at your network traffic. Too bad, so sad. You'd be rich but miserable. That is true. That is true. Money can buy a lot of things, but it can't buy happiness all the time. There's certain cases where it can buy happiness. Don't get me wrong. The stress that comes with knowing that what's coming in a couple of years scares the shit out of me. Like, I don't even know if I'll be alive in a couple of years, honestly. But it fucking terrifies me to think about it. And money, when you're living in a capitalist society, money is equal to life. Like, you can't breathe, you can't survive, you can't eat without it. Like, it's a requirement. So a lot of people have to make that decision of what are you willing to do to survive? And I think that's what capitalism is. And some people just take it a little bit further than what do you need to do to survive? And it's like, what do you need to do to take more than your fair share and not give a shit about everybody else it affects? Kylek said, you ever see Casey Liddell, the towing guy? You guys are very similar, extremely choosy and moral about sponsors and happier because of it, I think. I mean, as far as the sponsors go, I cannot, and I know this for a fact because I even tried. under advice from another successful YouTuber. I was like, I'm gonna try to go outside my comfort zone and try to promote something. It was the Kamigami robots. If you go back and watch that video, that was a paid promotion. And not only do I say throughout the entire video, oh, this is a paid promotion, it felt sleazy. You know what I hated the most? I actually liked the product, and my son liked the product, and we had a lot of fun with them, and the entire time I fucking hated it. And the reason I hated it is because I didn't get to just do a video reviewing a product that I liked. I had to do a video where I was being forced to say I liked a product. Even though I liked it, I felt like that was still dirty, and I didn't like it. It messed me up. After that, I stopped taking paid sponsorships like that. From that point on, it was like I'd take affiliate deals. So if I sold something, I'd take a cut, but not like straight up payment. And then anything that made a straight up payment, it had to be a product that I reviewed in advance, I agreed to, I kept and used myself, and only when I was comfortable with it would I do it. So it wasn't, oh, you pay me and send me the product, I read your script like most people. It was, no, you send me the fucking product, I'll use it. If I like it and decides it has a place in my life and I feel like it's a high enough quality to show other people that it's good, then yes, you can give me some money, but I'm going to review it my way. You don't get to see it before I send it out. That was another thing. I had a hard no on that. A lot of YouTubers, it's really standard affair to have to record the video, send it to your marketing manager guy for the company, and they have to review it, make sure you hit the talking points, make sure, and they have to give it the all clear, tell you what changes need to be made. That was a strict no. Anybody that presented their terms, I always said that had to be taken out. You send me the product, I say whatever the fuck I say, however the fuck I want to say it, and if I don't like the product, I'll send it back to you, but that's it. That was the end of the contract. Lewis Rossman, what does it say? Kawasaki Motorcycles requires the dealer for an oil change. That's fucking stupid. That's fucking stupid. And that's like straight out of like Bugatti too. Like Bugatti's doing that, and a bunch of other car companies are doing similar shit. It's so stupid. Do I agree with the Steam Deck price changes? I haven't seen it, but I'm guessing they went up, and no, I don't agree with it. But sadly, that's the reality when you have all these tariffs and shit. Like Trump is trying to kill free trade without having a replacement in place first. And he doesn't care, because all Trump cares about is he insider trades the stock market. So he only cares about the stocks that he can control in the stock market. That's all he cares about. Everything else, he doesn't give a shit if it plummets to the ground and fucks over everybody else's life. You heard him himself. He said not once, 3 times now. He said, I don't think about the Americans' financial situation. I don't think about Americans. I don't give a shit if they fucking die and starve for all I matter. All I care about is Iran not getting a nuclear weapon, which we both know is bullshit. Because Iran didn't get a nuclear weapon the 4 years he was out of office, didn't have a nuclear weapon before that, and then we were actually more protected when he didn't have the contracts blown away allowing him to have a nuclear weapon. We don't have their nuclear material. We haven't sunken their entire Navy and killed every one of their ships. They're still manufacturing rockets like a motherfucker, and they're still keeping us out of the strait. Like, he's just, the only reason Trump does this is because he knows he can trade on all of it, and he knows as long as there's war and conflict, he can manipulate elections behind the scenes, he can fuck with numbers, he can move talents. As long as he gets everybody focused on the next big fire he just created, he's free to do whatever the fuck he wants, and I hate it. Oh my God. Hey guys, I do need to start wrapping up though, because I already feel my voice is starting to get raspy. I blew my vocal cords out after the LAN last weekend, and I don't want to risk re-injuring them so quickly. But interesting stream today. Do I use Claude? Yeah, I use Opus. I don't use it like super heavily just because the price of it per token is pretty insane. But yeah, I'd say Opus is probably one of the most capable models out there. But again, if you try using like Hermes Agent with some local models off Hugging Face, you might be surprised at what you can get it to do without having to pay anything to any cloud service. But I'm also not going to feed you a bullshit story and say, oh, local AI can completely replace cloud AI. Because unless you have fucking rack mounts of servers and GPUs in your garage that can run these super, super huge models, your mileage is definitely going to vary for sure. Don't expect like absolute miracles, but you will be pleasantly surprised with what you can accomplish with a 5 or 6 gigabyte model running in VRAM on your graphics card with LM Studio. Or not just LM Studio. You need LM Studio or Llama to host it, and then you use Hermes to coordinate and manage it. Oh... Thank you guys, everybody, again. I want to thank Pele again. Thank you for that $75, brother. That really blew things up. I wish I had been able to answer his question a little better about, what would I like to buy that you don't really need? Honestly, somebody just said earlier, a Stream Deck. A Stream Deck would be awesome. It'd be neat to have a portable computer that's not a laptop that you can just break out like a controller and just play while I'm like laying in bed or something. But it's not something I need. It'd just be something that I frivolously would want. But I'm already blessed with a lot of the stuff I have. I've still got my VR simulator behind me with my PSVR 2, that, Adam got me with the PS Pro and Gran Turismo. Honestly, that's like when I need to blow off steam and I'm feeling okay, I get on that thing and just rip laps on the Nürburgring. Last week, I probably did 20 or 30 laps on the Nürburgring in various different cars. I prefer the slow cars over the fast cars. I actually like the technical driving with less grip. As a matter of fact, I do better at it too. I seem to do a lot better with like the slower cars manipulating the grips and the cars that have their like super downforce cars that go like 200 miles an hour. Oh, yeah, VR Gimp, it's true. America is losing all of our allies because of Trump. And the thing is, he doesn't want us to have allies. Hitler did the exact same thing. You want to make you want to distance every ally before when you take total power. Because those allies do have external influence and they do have external resources. And if they have access to help the people, they can in those situations. So Trump wants to make sure that they're all far, far away when he makes his move. He doesn't want them to want to help us at all. He wants them to hate us and wants to see us go down. Hey, to Wolf's Den, thank you for the $10. I super appreciate that, brother. Speaking of which, I do appreciate the support, guys. I'm gonna try to cut Houston his check. I haven't paid him in like 3 months. I'm gonna do the math and split up everything tonight or tomorrow and get him paid because he's been such a sweetheart, dude. He's been like, yeah, don't even worry about the money. Don't even worry about the money because he knows that I'm struggling a little bit, having to draw from my 401k. But I pulled a 401k distribution. Thankfully, it was at the one time that the Dow didn't dip right when I had to do it because of Trump doing stupid shit. So at least it didn't hurt as bad as it could have. So now I can finally pay him. So that's good. Shit, it went up $300. The Steam Deck went up $300. Well, fucking now I definitely believe the Steam console thing is going to be over 1,000. Ox said there was no way it'd go over 1,000. I think it will. I think if you're paying 300 more, what was it before? $500? What is it, like $700-800 now? There's no way the console is going to be under that. Hey, thank you, Ron Gow. I appreciate you. Same thing with you, Blue Varo. He said, if I were ever to get into YouTube, the only sponsor I would probably take would be Scentbird. I'm not familiar. But I'll tell you what, the easiest sponsorships are the ones where you love their products already. Like, that's what I would do is I'd reach out to companies that I already used their shit and already enjoyed it a lot of the time. But here's the problem. A lot of companies don't want to pay you to promote their product when you're already basically using it and promoting it to everybody for free. That's why you'll always notice, if you look at the list, if you're a YouTuber, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you have a marketing manager or a marketing team that presents you with sponsorships, the highest paying sponsorship is always the most corrupt company with the most bad press or the most sleazy thing. It always is at the top is like Raid Shadow Legends, rip off products, earbuds, gambling, stuff like that. That's like preying on people. Then it goes down, and then at the very bottom, when it gets down, now it's not $10,000 per ad. Now you're down to $500 per ad. The $500 per ad is like the product that actually made it to store shelves because people bought it and like it. But yeah, and that's why a lot of YouTubers always go for the product that pays out the most. That's the shittiest, and that's why they take the money instead of investing it in the product and trying to make the product better. They take the bulk of the money and put it into marketing. Oldest trick in the book. Console probably be like $2,000. Fuck. And you know what? The sad thing is people still fucking buy it at that price. I mean, people who could afford it, not me. Would I consider a sponsorship from LTT Store? I mean, I would, but it wouldn't make financial sense for Linus. I'm also big on if a deal is going to be made, it needs to make financial sense for everybody involved. If Linus sponsored me right now, it'd literally be a handout at best, and I don't want that. By the way, I got to see Linus. Linus has always been nothing but nice to me. He's been super supportive, even at my height and even at my bottom. He's always been just an equally nice and supportive guy. And when I was at the LAN, I didn't even know he's at the event because a lot of people were looking for him. He wasn't around for a lot of the LAN, but then he did show up. He was there really late one night and he was leaving. I think it was 11 or 12 o'clock on Saturday. And I get a tap on my shoulder. He actually walked all the way over to me just to say hi and ask me how I was doing and catch up on things. And I was like half asleep, and so I told I immediately brought up the jet because that's what you do because everybody's hounding about the jet. So I brought up the jet and made a joke about it, and he started laughing. And then he said it's the new Lambo because I was the one that circulated that joke back in the day that his Honda was a Lambo and that he really owned a Lamborghini and the Honda was a cover and that Luke was secretly the guy that washed his Lambo every night. Anyways, it was a whole thing. Would you consider a sponsorship from ibuprofen? I mean, if I wanted to die, it'd be hard for me to promote a product that kills me. I can't even take it. But yeah, the truth is, I'll tell you right now, we are actually seeking a sponsor.
I'm not going to say who it is right now because we don't know if it'll work out or not. But I am seeking a sponsor, and it is a product that I've already been using for 2.5, 3 years that I pay for out of my own pocket. And I've noticed that they've started sponsoring some YouTubers here and there, like sparsely. So it seems like they're available to the idea. So a friend of mine is reaching out to them and seeing if they'd be interested. So we'll see how that goes. That would actually be really helpful. And plus, it's a product I use literally every day for like years, so I know it's good, and I actually really like it and keep rebuying it. So that makes it really easy. No, it's not Fox News. All right, guys, my voice is getting really gravelly. I got to get going. I love your faces. Please have yourself a good weekend. Take some time to play some video games and decompress. And thanks for letting me rant today. I needed it. And don't take what I said today with a grain of salt. I'm just, it's been a really rough couple of weeks. Shit, if I'm being honest, it's been a really rough couple of years, but it's been getting worse and worse progressively. This last week was a little rough after the trip. I had a blast on the trip, by the way. But once I got back, it's just being sick for a week and being laid up. My voice fucked up. My back hurting even more than usual. But it does seem like the steroid shot on my left is actually doing a decent job. So sitting here, I don't feel as bad as I usually do. I'm just tired. But a TENS device sponsor, that would actually make too much sense. Thank you for reminding me about the TENS device. I brought it on my trip, and I used it heavily when I was at the LAN because I couldn't sit 17 hours without it. I think when I go get in bed, I'm going to strap it on and fall asleep with it on. I know you're not supposed to do that, but God, the best sleep is when that thing's just tasing you, numbs everything. It just disappears after like 5 or 10 minutes, and then you just go to sleep. It's wonderful. Until you roll over and pull a wire out of the pad, and then it tases you, and you wake up to feeling like somebody's setting you on fire. Not like that happens every single time, though. Hope the LAN party was awesome and you enjoyed yourself. I really did, Wolf's Den. It was more about the people, too. I probably, the whole time I was there, I played games for 2 hours. The rest of it was just socializing with everybody. That's what I love about LANs. I don't go to LANs to play games. I go to LANs to socialize and see everybody's cool shit. Is the sponsor Pornhub Premium? No, but that would totally track. Although they might get mad at me for the downloader I just wrote. They can like find and download everything off their site. Hey, Pro DVD, thank you for being a member for 29 months. I appreciate it. Ah, shit, man, my voice